All right, guys, you guys are up.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome
Good evening,
back
everybody.
Welcome back for night number 2, the Curlsask Tankard final flashbacks, featuring myself and now second Kirk Muyres. But in this game, obviously, we'll be skipping against each other. So one of us is going to have a little bit more fun watching this one than we did last night.
Yeah, this is Maddie's turn to have some fun. So, but no, it should be good. We'll talk about some fun stuff, and yeah, it should be an interesting one. This one again, I don't remember it that well, to be honest.
In the page playoffs,
there's a few moments, a few big shots, but we'll see. It'll be fun to watch it through.
Yeah.
Cody Hartung dropped to this morning's semifinal where
took the long way again.
And the Dunstone team came out on fire. They didn't miss.
Never been one to make it easy on myself at the Saskatchewan Tankard.
Yeah, you can only win it when you come through the seaside, it seems, Maddie.
Apparently, it's magic when you're playing for your last life.
Last rock here in the opening end of the play. They will.
Yeah, so when we won in 2018, we went through the C, didn't we? Had to win the.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2 or 3 games in the C, and then the 3-4 semi.
I can't remember. I played Ryan Dice in the C final, and then I think we played Bitsy in the 3-4 game.
Yeah.
And Brock Virtue and the Heights in the semi, and then Flasher in the final.
I think you were right.
Esteban, another beautiful arena.
Yep. Yeah, this one was a nice one too. Melville they did a great job. They ran both men's and ladies provincials, and beautiful arena they have in Melville. New. We played a provincial there back in 2015 as well when I played with Steve Laycock, Colton Flash, my brother there. We had won that one, but I think that was one of the first events that were in that building, and we're lucky enough to go back this past year.
And this was the first time a Sask provincial had ever ran both men's and ladies under the same roof at the same time. Is that correct?
And we wish you well, good luck, and good curling.
Yeah, I think so. I think this was the first kick try at it, and they were obviously very successful. And then we're planning to do it in Esteban again this year. And obviously with COVID, that's not going to happen. But I would imagine maybe next year, whenever things kind of get back to some normal life, Esteban will try doing that again. And I think it's good. It kind of cuts some costs for the organizing committees and kind of go through and even cut some costs for Curlsask. So I think it's a good way to do things.
It seems like across the board, that's kind of the route most provincials are starting to go now.
Skip Matt Dunstone. The third is Braden Muscowie. Second, Catlin.
Yeah, I think so. I think
and we curl out of the Highland Curling Club in Regina.
Might take a little bit in a few years, or we'll see how it all shakes out. But I think even if you could run them at the same time, would be nice too. We got to figure out how to make the events not so long, but maybe with 5 sheets in the building or something like that, and you can run it for 6 or 7 days.
And we curl out of the Dunstone Curling Club in Saskatoon.
The roles reversed on this one. We got to play the morning game this time around.
Yep, you had to play the morning game.
In the first end of play.
We got
Same
hammers.
They're going to throw guards.
Yeah.
Do we expect the same here in the
Same stones?
Complete role reversal this time around. I can't remember if
I think for sure. I think they'll be going at it.
I think we would have thrown these same red stones in the semi against Hartung.
Well, this has been their plan. They've had some very strong first ends.
And now that I think of it, we actually didn't play the semi on this sheet. We played on sheet 3 beside it.
When they get off to a fast start, then they can play their running.
Was that a change they made this year?
I think that was a change they had made this year.
Going strong in the first with
yeah, that. I mean, you can look at that a million ways, but that certainly gives an upper hand to the team that doesn't have to play. In comparison to what it was.
Which I would argue is fine. I mean, there should be reward for winning that 1-2 game. I have.
Yeah, exactly.
I have absolutely no issue with that at all.
Yeah, both of these teams very strong.
Yeah, I think you've earned it at that point. Yeah, it was. And I think, I know last night as we saw in Whitewood there, some of the curl came out as the game went on. I think it stayed quite a bit of curl throughout most of the game here. Didn't it, Maddie? I don't know if we lost a ton.
No, throughout the week it was kind of from draw to draw, it would fluctuate from time to time the amount of curl there was in it. I remember, I think it was our second game of the week against Josh Height on sheet 4. We couldn't keep the rock on the sheet. Basically, it was moving so much. So it's it was, and then I would say it was very similar this game than it was that Josh Height game too. So they definitely kept the curl in the ice this time around.
Because they've caught on to that, it allows that.
Yeah, they might have scratched up the rocks kind of through the event, maybe. Again, I don't remember for sure.
No, I know Darren always likes it.
Same thing. We get Darren did them at midnight.
Oh yeah, Darren loves to see the ice moving.
The other part too that the Dunstone.
But yeah, we're getting right into her again. It's almost like a no fear thing. Both teams just trying to convince the other team that they're ready to go.
Yeah, convince them that they're not nervous.
Yeah.
They've done it every way, man, but they are not afraid to put these rocks in play.
I hope Ducey's a little nicer with me in the first end this time around.
I don't think there's anything for Deuce to be on me about. We were in a lot of shit in the first end here. Yeah, we were trying to convince both teams that weren't nervous.
I guess playing the hit and roll here is first end call, more or less. Is that kind of the? Just not trying to dive into it too big, too early.
Yeah, I think so. I think just try to keep the scoring area bigger and you can do that a little more effectively by not having too many rocks around, even though it doesn't pan out that way. But that's kind of the thought process there.
Heck of a shot.
Pretty nice shot.
Top 4.
But again, it's one of those things where those are sitting, you're kind of almost licking your chops a little bit too, right? If Deuce can get a nice one on the face here, move it around, get it off 6 or 7 inches, or Catlin, sitting pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a big shot early on. Actually, really, this one bounce off away from you guys being in action to possibly score something or have a good look at scoring something big early on. But I think a shot in this situation too is just one of those other advantages of being able to play in the morning too. Having confidence in a shot like this in the first end, not an easy thing to do, and it's made absolutely perfect, right? So I think that's kind of a first end or an advantage of playing in the morning for these types of shots.
Yeah, you get a sense of what you need to throw and how you need to throw it, and you kind of carry that over. And so it's kind of like the 11th end of the first game instead of the first end of the day.
Dan Marsh will look to come down, sit on top of
If I remember right, I think the boys in front of us here just stacked them up for a few.
Lots of room. Little bit of room yet. Fight the 4. Line's pretty close. No bouncing yet.
Fun little fact. I actually puked before this game, before we headed out for practice. It was a good way, not because of nerves or anything like that. We'd obviously taken the long route. We're playing a bunch of curling, so my knee was pretty sore come this game. My legs were sore in general, so I'd taken a couple Advils, and I'm not a very good pill taker at the best of times, and I tried to get 2 down at the same time, and they both came up, and including a bit of my lunch too. So it was a good way to break the ice in the locker room for the guys to see me bent over a garbage can getting rid of these pills I'd try to take.
The fearless leader is ready to go.
Yeah. You guys can trust me.
Yeah. Well, I wish you wouldn't have done that. If you wouldn't have done that, maybe we would have had a chance.
Well, and just before this game started too.
The boys are stacking them up.
Oh yeah, little line dancing action going on.
Let's put another one on.
That's amazing.
Just before this game was played, my girlfriend Erin was actually playing the BC women's final. They were in the 10th end of their game against Sarah Wark. Just as this game started too. So, and I had known the score. I'd been watching a little bit, so
well they've done it.
I guess I would honestly say these first end or two, I was kind of thinking about, well, I wonder how the heck that game had gone.
This right here is the manual for how to do that drill.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you're thinking about that. You kind of in the back of your mind for 3 hours, and you got enough to worry about, but that's kind of adds on to it, eh?
Well, exactly. There's a funny story come the fifth end break, actually, of they ended up winning the game. It's kind of I'll tell it at the fifth end break, kind of how I found out they had actually won mid-game.
Gets a little angle this time, and I thought they might play for that angle the last time. That's what you need to actually
So
pop the
that,
top red one off there if you decide to play it.
What goes if you
My internet's giving me a little grief here, so I'm gonna see if I can
Yeah, exactly.
get her ramped up
Losing
a bit.
The red one might pop out.
Not bad.
Yeah, a little squirt.
Whatever you like, though. If guard's good, that's good, too.
Yeah, it's just he's one good ripper away from maybe sitting a little bit too many. Ever get a flop in here? Good. Firm?
Hey, buddy.
Just firm. Yep.
And if there's anybody that can throw that one good ripper, it's certainly Kevin Marsh. So
Braden Muscowie.
tremendous respect for their opposition's capabilities.
If you can get to the inside.
Had enough
you
time to
can
blow her up.
That top red one should
Yeah.
pop out.
Had a couple of yellows moving there,
Does some
See
great
you later.
shot.
and
That worked out pretty good for red. Oh,
worked
boy.
out really well.
Great shot. That's fun. That yellow middle.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Sometimes when you get those stack ups, you don't know whether you're necessarily sitting with good angles or bad angles. It all depends on how that kind of shakes out through there.
Yeah, those bombs, you're not really sure how she's going to clean up. It's 50-50 a lot of the time, and the difference on that one was Dano's freeze just not quite on the face of it and froze onto the half of the top red one.
Yeah, I gave you an out. But,
Little unlucky, is looking a little dicey after
Matt Dunstone sitting two.
after that. Two buried with a center.
Together, there's probably room to make it.
yeah, that didn't pan out. Again, it's one of those things on some of those runbacks. You can hit them pretty good, but if you aren't getting in the right spot, it's nasty. And yeah, this is again. I don't remember how the end shakes out, but this is getting not really good for Team Muyres.
Not early on.
You get to it because you know Braden's throwing this guard.
Again, anybody tuning in, send us your questions as they come to mind. We'll be happy to touch on anything during the game.
We're okay. We're pretty good weight, just for line.
Touch it. It's picking now.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Good shot.
Okay.
Just the same thing, eh? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, running their yellow into the reds is always a good thing.
Try.
That over curl on you, Maddie, or are you guys trying to put it out there?
No, over curled a bit. I think trying to block you from the exact shot that you're playing here. Just with obviously just throwing this run back and how good they are at these types of shots. And again, unlucky on that one too. Great little scrub at the end, I must say. Get that one out of there, get the catcher out. But
what do best, eh?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, still got a little bit of heat on you guys early on.
Higher up on that rock, that's where the angle was. It's on the opposite side of the corner.
And again, I think this call here, freeze into the back yellow, is more or less just to kind of really make sure we don't give you any sort of shot for two. I think making this shot here, almost I would venture to say guarantees a bit of a force. No real chance for two once this freeze is made, because you're always playing that run back in. So I think that's kind of the reasoning behind this shot call, as opposed to coming in on top of us or throwing a high guard on top. You're kind of one good shot away from having a chance at two. So freezing the back one, I think, is more or less a first end call where we're pretty happy to get you with a force.
Yeah, totally. And like you said, one good shot the other way, and also we're sitting two in the rings buried with hammer, and you got one rock to go, right? So just kind of managing that game a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Line's good, just go.
Gotta go, man.
Yeah. Key. Hard.
Looking to freeze the back one.
That one looks like it's going to be good too, Matty.
Just nudges
Oh.
off the zone.
It'll bounce off. Yeah, so we do. It ends up in an okay spot where I don't really think you have a run double to necessarily sit to. You make the double, but the guard's obviously going to spin out of place somewhere.
Yellow, so can't come
Yeah,
out.
it worked again.
Worked out in an okay spot overall.
Just jamming stuff on the top work. Yeah, on this one.
But still, it's you plant this run back anywhere in the house. And the fact that we're not frozen on the back still brings your back yellow into play too. So that's where the importance of being to the back yellow was key.
Yeah, and like if you would have got around that too, if you don't actually touch off of that, then I'm making that run and plant it potentially.
The double,
you
yeah.
you know what I mean? If you don't, so
Yeah, it's actually better. We did chisel off.
Find the charm
Totally.
for this run. No, not quite, but this time he rolls his shooter out from in front of that rock.
And I guess that red top four is probably Aramoski didn't like the ice I had originally put down. Pleading his case. There he goes. Smart man. I think we almost did over curl here still.
He had a feeling.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Certain shots you just can't really take enough ice, especially on the arena. This would definitely be one of those.
Yeah, no, you were really right. Early in the game too, you usually get that fresh pebble. She's always going.
Yeah.
Just a broom less moss, guys. Really? Okay. Yeah. I mean, even if we guard middle four, he doesn't have a shot.
Right. Or even if you end up like kind of Christmas.
Yeah. I'll lay it up there.
Yeah, I think you'll have to talk a little bit about that pre-shot routine you have, Matty. That thing pretty locked in now for the last few years in how you kind of approach each shot.
Yeah, it's some people ask
Easy early if you can. Halfway. Yep, go a little bit. Whoa.
yeah, it's something I've definitely incorporated into my game on and I try to do it the exact same for every single shot, whether it be a nose hit, a blanket attempt, or even a draw to the paint. Just try to get into that same routine that I think something I definitely focused on more so this year, as opposed to last. And a big part of that is Adam Kingsbury, obviously our coach. Going through that with him and figuring out why actually the reasoning behind everything and it's just with that it's really easy to make sure you're not rushing when you have that sort of routine and you're waiting until you're ready to go. A lot of what we've talked about is with our eyes and getting that tunnel vision on the sheet and really the truth of the matter is you only need that laser focus for 4 to 10 seconds really in a curling slide, because as soon as you let go of that stone, I mean there's absolutely nothing you can do about it then. So big thing is just that laser focus for the 4 to 10 seconds. And that's still today is something I know our team's working on obviously now on a consistent basis and just the big focus on making sure we're breathing and keeping that heart rate at a stable level and not throwing the stone until we feel completely ready.
Kirk Muyres looking for the edge.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And you were obviously completely ready to draw the side of the lid in the first end. That's a big point in the first end.
Yeah, it is. I wish it was for 2 or 3 points, but again, same thing. Getting that point in the first end kind of set the tone for the game that you scored the point and you got that edge up, right? So
huge. And I think you making that shot tells our team a lot about kind of where you're at, right? You're obviously feeling pretty good. It's not easy to draw the side of the button in the first end of a provincial final and make her look pretty effortless. I think tells our team a lot of kind of where you're at and how you're feeling.
Yeah, maybe looks effortless, but certainly wasn't there, Matty. That's for sure. But yeah, again, it's we talked about it lots last night. It's really about controlling the energy on that sheet and trying to win the battles mentally and kind of not necessarily even gamesmanship, but just win the battles mentally and in terms of the energy on the sheet and the momentum, because it's such a long game. There's always those opportunities to kind of keep it rolling, and I've always been a big believer in that.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things. Both teams know what's going on, but nobody says anything.
Yeah, totally. We're talking a little bit with producer Jerry yet here on getting a few of the little kinks worked out, but we're on the right track here to another good production. So we appreciate everyone tuning in again tonight. Should be fun.
I know I've watched more than my fair share of curling in lockdown here. Kirky, have you dove into some old classics?
In the last, I don't think I did, like early on, like in March and April. I didn't do much then, but in the last probably month I have. I got to give a shout out to Mr. Curling Legends. He's putting all those games on YouTube, all those old curling games, and they are awesome. And the thing I love about it is I can go through them really quick. I could just kind of go on the YouTube and like speed it up 10 seconds, get to the good parts. And it's awesome watching. It's awesome watching how much the game's evolved. It's also kind of fun watching like the personalities and like the stuff that went on back then and stuff, and the little chipping between the teams. And I tweeted it a few weeks ago. I said I want to see the 95 Brier final or the 95 Brier game between Saskatchewan and Alberta, because that'd have been I believe it'd have been Kevin Martin against Brad Height in the Saskatchewan Alberta game, and the Brier final was Brad Height against Kerry Burtnick. That would be just an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah. The old bull.
Oh, the old bull.
That Brad Height Martin game is on Curling Legends right now?
I don't think so. I don't think I think he's I tweeted at him. He said he's having a tough time finding a lot from that Brier, much less like games of height. Like really good chance, I guess, even the Alberta Saskatchewan game wouldn't have been televised likely back then, So
yeah,
but
it's amazing he can actually get his hands on all the old archives there. It's a lot of entertainment. Like you said, it's funny to see kind of how much the game has actually evolved, and really not that long ago. 1995, 25 years ago. So
yeah, totally. What games do you love? Do you like going back to that deep, or do you like the stuff from the thousands, or what?
I like going that deep. I would say I've been hovering around anywhere between the 90 to 2000 Brier, anywhere in there. I've been hitting pretty good. The skins games too. I think they got some men's and ladies skins games in there, and basically anything with Kevin Martin, I'm pretty much all over at any capacity, whichever game it is. So recently, I watched. Talk about it
Oh, go ahead.
Recently, I had watched his 1995 Alberta Provincial final, and the shot he makes on his first one in the very last end, he's down one coming home, and the shot he makes, it's like a half weight double run.
Yes.
Stick on the button is one of the best shots I've ever seen. I don't think it's a very well-known shot just because it's, it wasn't on a super high profile event like the Brier, right? So it's one of those hidden gems, a shot I had never seen before. And it's one of the nicest shots I've ever seen.
Yeah, you must have sent that to us, but yeah, that was something else. That was unreal.
Oh, we're getting some questions from everywhere here.
I watched Yeah, we'll have to figure this out.
I'll
One thing I was going to say before we move on to the old games, I watched. I saw a game of Kevin Martin playing in the 91 or 92 provincial playdowns, and he was wearing the team was wearing their Team Canada gear from the Olympics. And
in the provincial playdowns.
What a power move by what a power move by the old Bear. And it was Kevin Park and Dan Petrick and Donnie B. And
That's
I thought,
amazing.
I don't know if Donnie B's listening, but that's a story I got to hear.
You gotta win the provincial championship after that.
I'm sure they did. Do it. Yeah, we're doing our best. You're right with Atlas Apex. We're doing our best with that, eh? Yeah, we got. I guess there's a question here on the YouTube page. When you guys are from Josh, when you guys are playing in a championship game, do you try to avoid looking at the hardware sitting on the sheet next to you? Maddie, I'll let you go first there. I got a thing I've always done, and but I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't. I do try and look at it. If you tuned in last night, a lot of what we talked about is kind of that privilege of being nervous and being in the big moments, and it's not every curling game you get to play beside a table of hardware. So to be honest with you, I really don't try to avoid looking at it. I mean, it's like I said, you don't get to play too many games with it right beside you. So I think that's all part of the environment, and I use that to try and enjoy the moment more, and just take that moment to realize that there's only two of the teams out here that actually get to play for that. So I think being able to look at that is a good reminder. Kirky, you said you have a bit of a routine.
Yeah, same thing, Matty. I make a point of making sure I walk over there before. First thing I do when I get on the ice before the game is I walk over there, I check out the hardware, I take a look at it, and go from there. I mean, same thing is I want to be able to see it. I want it not to be a distraction during the game. So I want my mind to know what I make sure that kind of piece is taken care of in my mind. So it's not something I think about during the game.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's one of those things where if you try to ignore it, it just kind of adds to the nerves and trying to avoid what reality actually is, as opposed to kind of letting that reality settle in. And when it does, you deal with it better as opposed to just trying to avoid it for 2-3 hours. I think that plays more with you mentally than it would just accepting what the moment is, regardless of how you're kind of feeling.
Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, I would heavily suggest going to check it out, and it's always one of those things, trying to not think about something is so tiring, and then you inevitably will fail at it, and then that'll just kind of hurt your confidence in a very small way as well. So there's no point in that. This is an interesting shot, Matty. I just remembered this one, and I believe. Yeah, so I think, obviously I was trying to hit and roll here, and I go back to this game, and I go, this was actually a big shot, that one there. If I make that hit and roll, it changes everything.
Then I'm basically coming around to trying that freeze. I'm thinking, hey.
Right, and then it kind of changes that. I either force you or I make it really tough for you to get a point. But this way, it kind of keeps you in control of that game after getting a point or forcing us in the last end. So this is the one I definitely kind of laid up thinking about at night. This was kind of my opportunity, I think, in that game, and sometimes those come in the second end.
Yeah, and a scenario here too, it would have been a lot of the time it would have been easy to look at that and say make the hit and roll under, but just with how much the ice is moving, obviously you had your draw weight. Anything underneath that guard behind the tee line on our end is as good as a force. So we're beyond happy with rolling away here and getting away with a blank.
Yeah, really, really smart move. Again, you're kind of sometimes tempted in the second end to really go for it, but like you said, you really want to make sure you really want to make sure you kind of keep on the radar how you're controlling that game and continue to not play into the hand of the other team. Be patient.
Yeah, I think it was pretty important. It's always pretty important, especially in the first end there, just with kind of we obviously had you on the ropes a little bit. You had to draw a side of the button. For your point, I think it was really important for our team to bounce back with a deuce. Like, I think just to keep that momentum flowing, because we had that momentum first end. I think as soon as you force us right back, that momentum completely flops. So I think very important to be as patient as we could for as long as we could until that deuce actually came our way. Because then you just, like we talked about last night, you just put that foot on the gas that much harder, the little bit extra pressure. Whereas suddenly you get a force out of us and that foot comes right off the gas and there's no more pressure anymore.
Yeah, you're totally right. And you guys did a magnificent job of that this game. You were just patient, waiting for your moment.
Mm-hmm. And you got a piece tucked.
Yeah, I just had to curl another millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been, I guess I make that in hindsight. That wouldn't have been a easy. Well, I guess you'd have played the run, I assume, eh?
Make it right under, yeah, you'd be top button.
You have to play the run back.
I ain't drawing the side of the button like you, that's for sure.
Not unless you need to, Matty.
Yeah. So I'll get away with a blank and try again later.
So would you guys be thinking much about the odds and evens here? Would you been okay getting 2 in the third, given this third end, that sort of thing? Do you think much about that? I know we talked about it a little bit last night, but
I think this early in the game just goes back to kind of that momentum shifting. I think just grab that deuce as soon as we can, whether it be 3, 4, or 5. I think as soon as we get a chance for 2, kind of be hopping all over that. Obviously, again, avoiding the steal at all costs, but just finding a deuce on any sort of number, knowing that there's 7, 8 ends to go. Kind of worry about that later and try and completely get a full grasp of momentum.
Yeah, and then, I mean, in hindsight, it's a beautiful thing, but the way the game worked out is you're right, because there was not a lot of opportunities. It really, in hindsight, didn't matter when you had that opportunity. It didn't matter if it was an odd or an even end, because there wasn't a lot of points being given up, and so you guys did play that very well.
Yeah.
Got to thank all our sponsors on the screen there. Sure appreciative of them always helping us out and letting us do what we do to try to become the best team in the world.
Yeah, very, very, very lucky, and looking forward to getting on the ice and on some national TV soon with their logos on our jerseys, obviously.
Yeah, it's been a long break.
Got these beautiful jerseys made. We just haven't been able to show them off yet.
Yeah, they are nice. They're nice. They're nice uniforms this year. Dynasty did a great job as usual.
Yeah, we've gotten away from our funky colors. Team Dunstone has the last couple of years with the bumblebee yellow and the Barney purple. Now we're going with just the black and the white. We've cooled the Jets a little bit.
Yeah, you brought on me, and I stifled all your innovation and your fun. It's all by the book now.
I guess here, hitting the back one, I guess both teams pretty okay with throwing with getting a blank here. It's kind of what this tells me with us coming around the center guard and you hitting it right back. I think the cat and mouse game happened a little bit earlier in this game, and I think early on we definitely played both teams played a very similar style of game in this game, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. It was very patient. Like you said, the cat and mouse back and forth, and I wasn't watching real close, but again, sometimes when those rocks got a little too good of a spot in the top 8 on the other team's side, we play that little run back just to keep that open for us to play that shot. Now that was just something we always kind of did as a team, and it worked out pretty good for us. But like you said, it was even on our end. It was just I'm a believer too in a lot of curling games, and especially big. And that's worked well for me over the years too, and things.
I lost you there for a bit, Kirky, so I didn't hear your piece, but I trust it made sense.
I'm thinking my internet's letting me down. I don't know if anybody at home heard my soapbox speech either.
I think everybody's internet is getting a heavy dose of overuse lately since the month of March.
Yeah, it is a fact. Gotcha. Jerry told me it's coming through okay, so that's a good sign. I think
so. We got a little
I
unlucky
have a
with
roommate.
the run back.
Oops.
Stick the run back in the house, and now you kind of got a chance here to get a force.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Again, I don't know how much of what people heard at home with my little soapbox speech there a couple seconds ago, but it's being patient and just kind of waiting for those opportunities to present themselves. I mean, you guys threw that rock great and didn't get the result, and now it's an opportunity for us, and that looks like it might give it back to you a little bit of a place to throw it there. But yeah, it's just finding those moments to attack is always an important thing.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of our one chance to get out of it in a hurry here and get back to hopefully getting a blank out of this end.
I think Catlin makes a beauty here, doesn't he? It's pretty good.
Mission accomplished. Sticker anywhere in the rings. But I think this is kind of the moment where it's shift gears for both teams, where you're going hard force, I'm going hard for a deuce now. I think there's no real scenario here unless there's a half shot miss or a full miss where blank comes back into play. So I think both teams kind of shift gears here to try and get that forced deuce somewhere.
Yeah, totally. That's a pretty nice shot. The curl. Oh yeah.
Now I'm gonna say blank's back in play all of a sudden. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, again, like you said, that cat and mouse kind of feeling it out, finding the spot, and see if it works.
Yeah, it's funny. I find the last two ends kind of funny how they're played out based on what the first end looked like. It's kind of funny. It's go uber aggressive, and then suddenly both teams kind of take the foot off the gas, and it's that first end we both realize, yeah, we ain't scared of that type of game. So then we can begin to play more of a natural kind of game for both teams.
Yeah, just let everyone know that we're not scared to do that, and then go back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. So again, you guys took the short route in this provincial. You took us down in the A final there. So what'd you guys get up to in Melville to fill some time?
We just took. I don't think we did much, but we went to. There's a couple of restaurants in town we took in, but it's nice to relax after you win that A final. That's so you would know going through the C event, but provincials are a grind. The three game days, 10 end games. But I just think the stress of it all is just so tiring. And so when you can get a day off, you take advantage of it, and you lay in that bed and you soak it all up and rest up.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That was the day in the life final we played. That was a tough.
The nice team supper Friday night. Lounge most of the day. Saturday, you guys get some practice time on Saturday, or Saturday.
Yeah. I don't forget exactly how that works, but yeah, I think you get a half an hour or something like that, and then I think maybe if you wanted a half an hour on Sunday, that sort of thing. So I always think it's nice to go and just kind of get everything loose, kind of go to the gym before, get everything loose, and kind of go from there. But this was everyone should watch this one at home. This is definitely a what not to do type situation on this one.
Little oopsie.
Oh yeah. Not good. So that was
and then we go for a what not to do here. This is completely contradicts everything I talked about last night.
Isn't that the truth, Matty? I never thought about that until now. You're right. You didn't give Team Muyres any respect. That's what this was about.
I guess not. I know. After this game, we were chatting with Braden's dad Kelly, and he's like, "What the hell are you guys doing? Like, take your deuce, get out of jail. Like, what's going on here?" I know Kelly gave us a hard time, and he's 100% right in this scenario. That red stone is half open, but I think we put it anywhere in the open rings and guaranteed you hit it, because in no scenario can you give up 3 here. So I think you're just looking at any way to give us 2. So again, we're trying to force 3 and hope you miss a 3-foot run back, which just doesn't happen at most levels of curling today. So this is trying to create a 3 and like you said, really just hoping for a miss. That's just a shot that's made at such a high percentage. It's not a call that makes much sense.
Yeah, I never thought about it until now, and like you said, we talked about it, and you talk about it, and I didn't remember this exact situation, but you're right. One of those things, you go anywhere to that open side, and I can't do anything but go hit the open one, especially considering I just flashed one there too. I'm not exactly going to go try much.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder maybe if that, again, can't hear the stream or the conversation itself. I wonder if maybe that came into play a little bit, just to kind of give you the same look on a shot you just missed. Would be the only kind of rational, or still doesn't make sense to do what we did in this scenario.
Yeah, and again, this is what I got going on here too is a learning thing is flushing the last one and giving this one an honest go too, and throwing it still with confidence, because if you don't, it can rattle up really bad.
Yeah, and really to make this double, like you're not hitting, like you feathered the stone on your first one, but you're not really hitting a whole lot different on this one either. You're still hitting this one pretty thin. but makes us pay for it. Now we got another blank on the board. That's
Except,
pretty easy opportunity on our end to grab a deuce and kind of keep momentum with us. And I would argue that after you make that shot, the momentum turned back to dead even after that.
Keep flying out of the hack. Matt Dunstone.
Whereas we could have applied pressure to that gas a bit more and kind of taken control, taken momentum. But I would argue we gave it right back to you after you made that double.
Yeah, I kind of think you're right when you think about that too. You had it huge after I make that brutal miss, and then I go and make a big one to get out of it. It kind of drags the momentum almost in our favor again, and now we still have the lead. You guys still have the hammer, but yeah, making that big one to kind of end the end.
Very big shot, and I think we'll be going a little bit harder for our deuce in the fourth end here. Just kind of having in the back of our mind, if we go deuce force through 5, then kind of flipped hammer, and then we're happy to see any sort of score in 6. So I would imagine we're going to go pretty hard for a 2 here.
Oh, we've been preparing for 2 years, really. I mean, since this team got together, we've been preparing, but well, Maddie, we should talk about the flag you've been flying this week. A little bit.
waving her pretty high.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the people that may or may not have seen, I think there's been a lot of discussion the last while about what, Canadian curling needs to do to kind of progress and grow to the next level and kind of what that means for our national championships, the Brier and the Scotties. And you've definitely got some strong opinions on that. And I think for the most part, I think I generally agree. But one of the things I have a tough pill to swallow is losing the provincial representation. I mean, you said it in your article too. You love the Brier. You love representing your province. Like that's the coolest thing for any curler. And I don't know if anybody would disagree with that. So that's always a tough thing to try to maybe keep. And I don't know, it's a tough one. But you want to share your thoughts on that a little bit?
Yeah, like you said, with the provincial representation, I do think it's very detrimental to our sport if something like that goes away, because of the history behind it. On the flip side, the argument I'm trying to argue here is we need to start giving a little bit more opportunity to the young up and coming teams in our game. In the Brier, you have your, at the end of the day, you have your top 1 to 8 CTRS in the championship pool. That's with the current format, that's never going to change. Where I see we're having difficult developing teams are those teams that are ranked 10th to 16 to 20 in the CTRS rankings, who are typically, vast majority of them are kind of the young 20 to 23-year-olds. And as it stands today, there really isn't much for those types of teams. They're not in the slams, they're not in the Canada Cup, and they're not in our national championship either, because they're losing to the big guns of our sport. So the fight I'm starting to fight here, I guess, is just to create more opportunity for our youth in the game, and we're seeing a huge drop off in numbers once curlers get out of the junior ranks. And I've done a fair bit of research on this, and in Canadian curling, between the years of 2000 to 2017, 32.5% of our junior men's curlers actually continue in the game at a competitive level, and it's 35% on the Canadian women's side. So we're seeing 60 to 65% of our junior curlers who have competed at a national stage are actually dropping the sport. Once they get to the adult competitive level, they might still play at a club level, but from a competitive standpoint, we're losing them. And I do think a big reason for that is there's not a whole lot of opportunity to on the big stage for these guys and gals for until 10, 15 years down the road when people are retiring. And then they're starting to see their opportunity. So that's kind of where my head's at. And it doesn't necessarily have to come through the Brier or the Scotties. However, I do believe that the development comes at a national championship. So what that looks like, I don't necessarily know. For example, we take a guy like Brendan Botcher. His very first Brier came when he was at 24 or 25 years old, in and around there. He went 3-8. And ever since then, he's been nothing but a Brier horse. He's lost the last 3 finals right after that. So we see that development in a guy like Brendan at 24, 25. Huge for him. Now he's 28, 29 years old, and he's one of the best teams in the world. And I look at guys like a Karsten Sturmey, like a Braden Calvert, like a Tanner Horgan, who aren't going to get that opportunity for exposure, or don't have very good odds, I should say, playing in a province with Kevin Cooey, Brendan Botcher, Mike McHugh, and Jason Gunlickson. There's not a whole lot of opportunity for their very low odds of them actually winning and getting onto the big stage. And there needs to be more of that. Whereas if 10, 15 years down the road, Brendan Botcher becomes Team Canada at the Brier, then it's Karsten Sturmey's chance to go. So I think just trying to fast track our youth, our young talent to get to the big stage is I think a direction we need to go for the development of our sport.
Now he's going to use that yellow stone that's in the 12-foot.
Yeah, and I think you make some good points, and I the internet's a funny thing nowadays, and I think sometimes it's nice to be able to really explain your position and that sort of thing, and I think lots of people know you well enough. It's not necessarily you even know the answer, but you have some ideas on where you want to go and how you want to do it, and for me it's a very, like I said before, it's a very tough thing to give up what the Brier has been for myself and growing up, and there was nothing better than Brier Week. I remember in our school growing up, we didn't have a TV in the library all year, but in Munster, Saskatchewan, where I went to school from K to 12, we watched the Scotties and the Brier. It was on in the library all day, every day. Like it's such a part of who we are, and so it's pretty cool. And that's a tough pill for myself to swallow, and I think a lot of curlers to swallow. But like you said, I think you have a good way of saying it. It might be a necessary evil. One of the things that I come back to is I think no matter how we qualify teams for our national championship, for our Brier, I still believe all those teams can still represent a province. And we talk about the casual fan in our sport. I'm not sure the 500,000 or 1 million people that are watching the Brier and the Scotties at any given moment. I don't know if they care or know necessarily how the Team Ontario becomes Team Ontario. They just love the fact that they can cheer for Team Ontario. Just like when I'm watching bobsled, I don't know how Team Canada became Team Canada. All I would know is I love it when Team Canada is ahead of Germany. And so I think that is something that is really important to stay in our national and Brier championship, still representing an area. But how that becomes, I think you're right. We have to look at giving opportunities to those young and up and coming teams. Otherwise, we're gonna fall behind in a pretty serious way to other parts of the world.
For sure, and I think a lot of people looked at this article and looked at it as if it was the top teams trying to get what they want, and it's the furthest thing from it's for those in between. It's my statement on this is fully about development, and I make another example of some stats I've come up with. You look at a team, so Canada's kind of up and coming teams right now is our team, and Brendan Botcher is how a lot of people would look at it. Mm-hmm. The average age of Brendan Botcher's team is 32 years old, and the average age of our team is 30 years old. And then I look at the flip side. On the other side of the world, you got Bruce Mowatt's team from Scotland. The average age of them is 26 and a half. And they're one of the best teams in the world. So the rest of the world is kind of 5-6 years ahead of our youth development, is how I'm looking at it. And that's something I think we got to start trying to even up with the world. Mm-hmm. Is they're getting better quicker than Canada is right now.
Yeah, you're totally right. They definitely are.
Go, dudes. Go, go, go.
And the question I think becomes in the long run is our young good players going to hold on?
That was good, sweet.
And quite honestly, have we lost really good players? Sure, there's now you look at the Kevin Cooey's and the John Eppings and the Brennan Botchers and the Matt Dunstones, but is there other ones that were lost because they didn't have the chance early enough? And that's something that's a scary thought too.
That's the answer. We don't know, right? What could have been for somebody, we just don't know at this point. So I hate that unknown. Knowing what we don't know, I guess is kind of how I look at it. And I just think we need to find alternative routes to create opportunity. And on the flip side, I do think we have to keep that Brier, that Scotties, a provincial representation in the history of it.
Little quiet. Whoa, Dan. Little quiet, kid.
It's kind of the one. I certainly don't have all the answers by any means, but I do think creating awareness of the lack thereof development in our sport in Canada, I think is a starting point.
Yeah, totally. And I think, like I said, I think the conversations that's being had around the game is great. And I think it's really good that you started that, Maddie. And I think the other side of it is really important too, is lots of people sometimes take these notions as the elite teams are whining to get their way again. Well, the elite teams are generally the ones that get some of the exposure, which people think that. But the other side of it, you're right. The 1 to 8 teams are going to be in the Brier either way. They're going to be there with the Wild.
Yeah.
Team Canada and winning the province. The best teams are going to be there. It's about that next layer. So I think you're totally right there.
We got a question here on YouTube. What do you think about a Tier 2 national competition to aid
Yeah,
in
Jerry had an idea here too. I think that's a that's a fantastic idea. I actually talked with that with a young Rylan Kleider here in Saskatchewan, because that's the same thing. I wanted to get somebody like that's up and coming, what he thinks of the whole thing, and he's under the same impression. He's wanted to play in the Brier and win the Brier for Saskatchewan ever since he was 6 years old, but he does understand that that's a changing target now. And he said the same thing. He said it'd be great to have a Tier 2 event, however that looks, to qualify for you for the Brier. And I think the great part about that is it creates another opportunity for national television exposure for these up and coming teams. It allows curling fans to watch some teams they don't normally watch. And it allows sponsors to get another maybe week of significant television coverage. And so I think there's a lot of bonuses in terms of that. And I think it'd be great for the game.
I really do too. And I think we look at a lot of our young stars in today's game, like a Tyler Tardy, a Tanner Horgan. These are guys who have gone out and beat the best teams in Canada, in the world already. Tardy beat Jacobs, I think, twice in Penticton just a few short weeks ago. And I think the more we can showcase these guys in our game, that's when we get the 17, 18, 19-year-olds looking at a Tyler Tardy saying, oh my goodness, he's only 22 years old and he's beating the top teams in the game. Maybe if this is something I stick with, I'm only 2-3 years out from beating these guys myself. Whereas if these kids are looking at guys who are 35, 36 years old, like Mike McEwen, who's 35 years old and getting to his first Brier, I think it's very deflating for them to look and say, well, goodness, I'm 17 years old. I got to wait another 17 years before I can make it to the Brier. Like, is that worth my time, my money, et cetera? Or should I just go elsewhere to look for a career, look for a job? So I think that's kind of the battle we're fighting right now is how do we make the sport very attractive for the 17, 18-year-old curler to want to stick with it moving forward. And the stats that I've come up with the Canadian junior competitors, where 65% of them are dropping the sport after, I think that's one avenue where we can create more of that 50-50 after, because it's inevitable that people are going to leave the sport after the junior ranks. Just life gets in the way on all aspects. It's just kind of evening that out a little bit more.
Yeah, totally. Roddy P, thanks for joining in. We'll see you next week. I believe producer Clark was talking to me about coming on and talking all about the curling. Hope you're doing well, man. Appreciate you watching. Corey Dropkin, again, talk about up and coming young guys. He's probably one of the best up and coming players in the world right now. Little Corey Dropkin, played against him lots. Hope to see you soon, my man. Stay safe.
I think we got off track, but back to the game. I think we did snare a deuce on you here, in the fourth end, I do believe.
I was trying to keep the world off it. I didn't want anyone to see it.
Yeah, yeah, did a good job with it.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to reach out to other Saskatchewan curlers in the last few days, and Rylan Kleider is obviously one that he's one of the bright future stars of our game, and trying to figure out ways to keep somebody like that engaged. I mean, he's one of the better football players in Saskatchewan as well. So
my only issue is they can hear me, so I don't want to talk too much and get over top of them at the same time. Yeah.
And we're back in the fifth end. I don't remember this end at all, actually. This will be brand new for me.
Fifth end would be going hard for a force on our end, no doubt about that. Look at me up there getting ready. I probably was sweeping before the tee line there, Kirky.
You would have been if you've been watching Kmart for the last 8 months.
Yeah. Got a question here from Josh on the YouTube. I know Kirk and Braden are mortgage brokers, but what do Deuce and Matt do for work? Deuce is he's an insurance underwriter, so he has no issues getting time off to curl, and he can do a lot of his work on the road. And I'm actually in school right now. I figured it was a good time to look into the school side of things and figure out what I want to do. And ironically enough, I'm in school to be a mortgage broker as well. So I figured I had a good chance to learn from two of Saskatchewan's best in the business while I'm in school here, while I'm playing with them. So I figured I'd take advantage of them while I still got them on my side.
Well, we're two mortgage brokers, but two of the best. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a fair statement. We're something, all right. Yeah, there's quite a few curlers or mortgage brokers, actually. Matt Wozniak in Manitoba there. Laura Walker, my mixed doubles teammate. Taylor McDonald, who plays with Laura Walker, is a mortgage broker. It works really well with the lifestyle that's needed to play at a top level. I mean, It's one of those things. Curling's you spend a lot of time on the road. You spend a lot of time doing different things, and kind of creating a lifestyle that allows that to happen is huge. And mortgage brokering kind of allows that, and it's tough to find that. And I think you'll be very happy, Maddie. It's a very rewarding lifestyle, and it's great. You get to help people buy their homes. They're always pumped to work with you. They don't ever have to pay you. The banks pay you, so it's a great business, and everyone's always fun. It's always exciting for people, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how much I actually enjoyed the real estate market until I just bought my first home a couple months ago. So that's kind of what convinced me to buckle down and sign up for school and get into it. I didn't realize how much I actually enjoyed the whole process of it all. Until I did it myself. So that's what's got me convinced. And yeah, I've started making a little dent into school here with no real curling going on. It's felt like it was a pretty good opportunity to do so. And again, goes back to our conversation last time. This is kind of a big decision that all young curlers are facing nowadays, right? Is what do I put it all into? I know of a lot of guys who have kind of try to do the curling and the school on the side too. And it's very tough on a person financially and your stress levels, right? To try and curl at a high level as well as put effort into school to try and graduate for your degree. And it's by no stretch of the matter an easy thing to do. And I think it's important in Canada because we have so many great curlers that only so much funding can go around. I think we got to do a better job of making it easier on these young student athletes, so they don't have to make that difficult decision where they got to do one or the other. I think we got to create other avenues to simplify it for them to be able to do both.
Yeah, and you're right. There's so much more than even just the travel, right? There's going to the gym every day. There's practicing every day. There's doing a bunch of teamwork, whatever that may be, whether that's mental work, team dynamics. There's tons of work to try to build the business and the brand of the curling team as well, right? There's lots of sponsor engagements and stuff you need to do to fulfill sponsors, and it's a lot of work that needs to be done. And it's an amazing life, and it's an amazing opportunity that we get to do it. But you definitely need to kind of make sure you don't overburden yourself.
Got a little carrying conversation going on here about the Briar and the Scotties in the background here.
Old Jerry's Mr. Producer's on the line with someone else, and it's interesting. I like listening to it, but I gotta talk about the game too.
Yeah, I know it is a conversation that has consumed my life. It would be an understatement in the last week or two here.
That's what happens when you're trying to procrastinate studying.
I guess so. Yeah, that's part of being a student, is figuring out ways to procrastinate. Another question here from Josh, wondering, is Matt going to True then? Thompson River University, that's the university in Kamloops here where I'm living. Or where are you going to school? I'm actually, it's UBC, which is down in Vancouver area. So it's all online course that I'm taking. Kind of do it at your own pace, which is obviously very accommodating for the curling or lack thereof at the moment. But it's worked out great from a timing standpoint and the pace that I get to do it at.
Yeah, a couple shots ago there. Kevin had a beauty double. Kind of got us out of a little pinch.
I'm having a lot of fun eavesdropping on Jerry's conversation here. I just want to listen to what he's saying about everything that's gone on.
We should get his mic live here, and he can entertain everyone. Yeah, we're losing it.
Yep.
Well, it looks like we're gonna get a blank in the fifth end here, as long as I can hit a half a stone. And
having a lot of fun eavesdropping.
I guess this is the same thing we kind of talked about last night, Matt. You kind of decide what you want me to look at, right? And you're just saying, hey, Kirk, I want you to throw your out turn, I guess, or is it the in turn? Okay, you want me to throw my in turn, I guess, eh?
Throw on the in turn, I guess. Maybe I do think, remember going back to the game, I think there was a little bit more curl on this side of the sheet. Like if you remember in the first in our card, we were almost right on the board. So I think there was a little bit more curl on this side of the sheet. But it would be the reasoning behind having you to hit, would be my best guess. Just a better chance to have it come up and end up on the nose, I guess, would be the thought process behind it.
Yeah, totally.
I do like what Jerry's saying, though. I don't know if everybody can hear, but Jerry's basically pleading the case that I'm trying to make about the young up and coming top CTRS teams who just aren't getting the opportunities that they should for their development.
Yeah, we got to make his mic hot for you, Matty. He's
I'd love
to take that one around.
I'd love to have a guest appearance on here to continue this conversation. The Zoom party, is there anybody calling for my head in there, Jerry? Who's this?
He's not talking to you.
Oh, he's not talking. I'm talking to nobody.
Oh. Well, that looked like a good throw there, Matty.
Well, if for anybody who's on right now and wants to keep this conversation going, and hear my thoughts, Kirk's thoughts about everything, now would be the time to ask it. I think it's a great conversation, and both sides do have a really good case for why they think the way they do. So I think it's a great conversation. And at the end of the day, I think everybody on both sides, their interests are lying within the interest of the game itself, and how to develop and how to continue our young curlers at the end of the day. I think both sides are arguing the same battle. I just different ways of how to get there, I think, is how people are looking at it. So definitely welcoming this sort of conversation tonight.
And I think a lot of times too, a lot of good conversations too of the regional differences in our country. Our country is so great and so vast, and it makes our province or makes our country amazing. But there is some major challenges that come with that, and how to provide equal opportunity for everyone. And I think that's another thing everyone is trying to figure out what the best way on that front is too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotcha.
Did you hear me stop counting there at any point?
Nope.
Sorry. Type it to me. If you count it. Did you hear me count all the way to 15?
Yes.
We got a really good question here.
So you guys know you're back on camera again. You guys can chat. We got a long 15 break here.
Oh, we got a long break. We got a great question come in here on the Curling Zone account from Kerry Tarasoff. Now, Kerry Tarasoff has been one of a huge builder for curling in general, and especially in Saskatchewan. He invented the website saskcurl.com, and so back in the 90s, when he tells this story, when he was on tour, he would update scores when he got home from the games at night, so people at home could see the scores of games all around the fields in Saskatchewan. And then from there, he went into kind of a pioneer in the streaming of curling, and he actually produces a stream we're watching here today. So Kerry was kind of instrumental in getting that going in Saskatchewan probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, and he's really been a huge builder of the game and a great person. So good to hear you on the call here, Kerry, and thanks for all you've done. But his question is to you, Maddie. I recall Matt's reaction after winning his first Tankard in Estevan. Was that bigger than this one? And Maddie broke down. He was so excited he couldn't handle it back in 2018. And I think that shows you what the Tankard and the Briar representing a province and representing Saskatchewan means to people in curling. So and even Maddie who is talking about changing the game and changing what that is potentially. So you know how much it means to curlers and to Maddie. But what do you think, Maddie? Was that first one bigger than the second one?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's the first one, obviously, right? And I think at this point, a lot of people will be able to say they see me cry more on the ice than me actually make shots out there. But yeah, it's the very first one. As a Canadian curler, you dream of winning a provincial championship, junior men's down the line, right? And that obviously being the first one, a very special moment. By all means, we got a lot of questions coming in here actually. On YouTube here from KM. What's something you wish you could tell your U18 curler self, Kirky?
Brings it into the top of the forefoot. Dallin Muyres being asked to come right down on top of that rock.
Clean. A little tight, maybe. Yep. Pretty good weight. Room. Good. Lots of room. Clean. Lots of room. Line's good. Lots of room. I think you're right on the face of it, guys. Yep. It's got to go a bit if we're over curling a little bit even. Are we good? Yep. It's for straight if you can. Just getting there, eh? Nice.
Nice shot.
Gets right to the face, taps it back a few inches.
Hear that? 15-5 on that.
I'm not going to be heavy on you guys.
Oh, really good.
Give us a panic if I... Give you about a 15.
Nice shot. Yeah, 15, quarter 7, boy. Well done.
I just talked for about 2 minutes on mute there.
There you go. Answer it again.
I got a second chance here. Oh my goodness, what do we got going on? Anyway, sorry about that. I would say that the big one is really just enjoy the process of learning and getting better, and remember to enjoy the game. I remember when I was younger, it felt like it was life and death on the ice in practice. Even in the off season, you'd be worried about getting better and whether you're good enough. So just sit back, enjoy the game for what it is. Find other things you love too, other sports, other activities, friends, family, whatever that may be. Find different things you love and can get your mind off curling as well. I think that's so important. And I didn't have a lot of that kind of when I was 17, 18. I was so invested in the game, but I wish somebody would have told me that back then, to just kind of sit back and enjoy the game for what it is. It's a game and it's a sport we love, and kind of don't lose track of that.
Absolutely. For me, I think the main thing would have been there's more to life than curling, and the sun's going to come up. I guess I definitely treated curling like it was life or death in juniors, and my attitude towards the game has come a long way since then, and how I carry myself on the ice has changed quite a bit too. So I think if I could have told myself to take the misses and the losses for what they were, I would have been able to handle myself a little bit better on the ice. But that's something I've definitely gotten better at and continue to work at today. Got another question from Dwight Pomedley here, and he says, what do you think of changing the age of junior curling to U23 or U24 instead of U20? Do you think this would help bridge the gap between junior and adult competitive curling?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. I think it absolutely would. The one thing is it's a lot different from other sports. So I wonder if you're still going to lose a lot of the athletes, but I think it's absolutely a discussion worth exploring. I think it would be great to try to create that next layer so they can make that transition to men's or ladies easier at age 25 or whatever that may be.
And on my end, I'm on the different side of that. I think the U23, U24, I actually think it delays the inevitable. I do think it might keep them in the sport for longer, for sure. But I think eventually it comes a time where they've got to make that decision on school, curling, that sort of thing, which was a decision that was going to happen at any age. And I do think if we look, for example, a team like Tardy, a team like Horgan, these are guys who are 22 years old and they're already beating some of the best in our game. They don't get that opportunity if they're still at the junior level at 23, 24 years old. So I do think this actually delays the development of our young curlers by pushing the juniors back to 23, 24. Whereas if we're done at 20, then for those who are still playing, they get that exposure earlier and they develop earlier. So that's why I would argue that U20 is a great cutoff. Because that decision of school and curling and career in curling is going to happen regardless. And I just find the quicker they're done at the junior ranks, that's when they get to the men's and ladies ranks, and that's when they can play the top teams. And I find they'll develop sooner the more exposure they get to those top teams. So that's why I would argue that I don't like the idea of a U23, U24 when we have players like Tyler Tardy, Tanner Horgan in our game that who have already proven they can beat the top of the game. It just helps them develop that much faster. A question from Julie. What do you think about the curling bubble in Calgary, Kirk?
Oh, we talked. About the even going to qualify. See, the goal is to qualify for that bubble, but I'm super excited. I mean, one, I'm excited to get back curling.
That's fine. Throw another guard on it.
Okay. So 5 feet.
I'm getting
We want to be here for sure, but
to be a prospect so we can go out and enjoy playing the game again. But I think it's going to be neat too. Also, just in the fact of getting to play in a bubble. That's something we hopefully never going to get to do again. So I think it's kind of going to be a neat little experience that you're never going to get to experience again. So I'm excited to get in there and enjoy it and just kind of have this once in a lifetime opportunity to play curling pandemic bubble. So it'll be interesting.
very unique experience. I said early on I was going to tell a story from at the fifth end break here, and I forgot to do it. So if we refer back earlier on, I said my girlfriend was playing in the provincial final, and they were rounding out their game kind of when we started. So at the fifth end break, I actually had to go to the washroom
Team has a bit of work to do.
at the fifth end break, so great time to do it. And Catlin actually thought I was going to the locker room to see if Aaron had won or lost. So Catlin sprints ahead of me, runs into the locker room, and checks his phone before I did, just so he could see the results, because he didn't want me to check it and see if Aaron had lost and have that as a distraction. So he wanted to get to the bottom of it before me. So he actually told, and I wasn't going to check my phone at all. I knew that it was not in my best interest by any means. So at the fifth end break, Catlin actually broke the news to me that Aaron had won her first provincial championship and it's going to the Scotty. So I actually found out at the fifth end break that had won. So just a funny behind the scenes story about how I had found out Aaron won her first provincial.
That was a hell of a day for the house.
Yes, great day. It's always fun, especially when you're in a relationship with a curler. When you're both competing the same weekend, you can both win. It's obviously a great day for the household, and a little awkward and strange when only one of you wins. So it's always great when both of you win on the same day.
I like keeping that 7 where it is as much as we can.
Oh yeah,
so I think guarding this one's a shot.
Yeah, he can push it to there and roll it. Yeah.
Is my audio still cutting out on you there, Maddie?
A little bit, Kirky.
If he doesn't make that,
in this sixth end here, it's you don't hear it watching the game, but a very funny moment happens, and I'll tell the story after. But I do want people to pay real close attention on my last shot in this end. Me, Catlin, and Ducey break into some laughter here, just as I'm about to throw, and I'll reluctantly tell everybody why that is the case, but just pay real close attention as to us breaking out into some laughter here.
I was just thinking, we don't want to give him this run, do we? Well, we want to keep that 7. That's our goal, right? We want to keep the 7 on the button.
But for now, let's enjoy the amount of trouble we got Kirky in here at the moment.
Yeah, it wasn't a real good scenario, I'll tell you that.
I think leaving that hole
You're
going hard for a deuce.
being tough to score at this
I
point.
think that's the shot. This is perfect right here. Yeah. He can totally. He'd make that double. Have at it. Take a mile of ice. Yeah. That's good.
Assuming that Kirk Muyres is just going to make this double.
Yeah, it's one of those things at this point in the game, or this point in the end, you just find any glimmer of hope that you can sort of get a shot in your next one. Because right now, if I had to throw, there was really no shot for one. I guess I could come off the wall there, but there's definitely no way to do it.
Not a fun-looking shot by any means.
This is going out, and does this come back and clip this? Because the shooter's going to come into here. So I think that's why you got to take that side.
I do see some more of the questions here. I do want to get to them after this end, just so we can, because I don't want to forget about this funny story I'm going to be able to tell after this sixth end here. I don't even know if you know this story yet, Kirky.
I do.
You do? Did we tell it to you? Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know when I heard it, but I felt like punching you guys in the face after I did. So
yeah. Oh, it happens on the first one. Oh, here it is.
Now.
There it is.
I missed it.
So I'm just gonna.
And I'm sorry I missed it.
So
I'm the tape. I hope it was something here.
I'm gonna reluctantly tell this story, but I actually I let off a little gas in the hack here, and that is what caused the laughter. And it wasn't quiet by any stretch of the matter. So I did actually fart in the hack here, and that's what caused the laughter. There was a deafening silence in the crowd, and it was far too loud. So another moment kind of halfway through the game where I felt like I had to break the ice for the guys and do something goofy, whether it be puking or farting. I was doing it all during this game. So yeah, just a little embarrassing story, kind of mid-game at the provincial final. Coming out of both ends, yeah. That's That's how I deal with nerves, either puking or farting.
Exactly how they drew it up, but it works. What's he got? Maybe get them all.
And definitely let you off the hook with the shot, actually.
That one spins right back.
Coming in deep and a short little run back. You can see we're still laughing about it. Oh, boy. So that's something we still laugh about to this day.
That's good.
Looking to come down, drive it this way.
But this is kind of your one moment here to get out of the end and see a point.
You know what? It's close.
The nice thing for Kirk to hit this right to get it over the top of the second one, his shooter's got to roll out of the way. So even if he does leave that one in the button, it's there by itself. Everything that's in front of it should be out of the way.
Yeah, a lot better than what they're looking at right now.
Basically needs a triple here too.
Has to make contact with the second one. Not the way they drew it
That
up.
didn't work out too good either.
A little bit more room for him.
Yeah, it's how big it was to actually get that rock off the top of the button. Now you bought yourself a little bit of room here. It's still not looking great for you, but at least there's nothing on top of the button.
Yeah, you're right. Would have been nice to obviously get rid of one of those or get that one out of the 4-foot even, or even make those top two go away. And you might just get out of the end yet, but there's a lot of heat.
There's a comment. Matt is a perfect candidate for a certain closed spiel I know in Kirk's original club. I don't know about that, so you'd have to elaborate a little bit. A perfect candidate, that makes me a little scared.
Sorry, I missed this. What's the comment there, Matty?
It says Matt is a perfect candidate for a certain closed spiel I know in Kirk's original club.
Oh gosh, the old Munster men's closed. I don't know who said that, but who's chimed in there?
Vox Lamina 682.
Okay. Again, don't know who that refers to, but yeah. So the Munster men's closed is a bonspiel at the nicest, I would say, 2-sheet curling rink probably in the world, or in Canada at least. And I grew up in St. Gregor and went to school in Munster. And to play in the bonspiel, you need to be from Munster, have went to school in Munster, or have married into Munster. And then so they have that in April every year, and it's 4 end games. Everyone kind of from the town gets around it. It is a fun time, I'll tell you what. So, but I don't think you make the cut, Matty. I'm sorry.
I gotta marry into Munster. I gotta marry into Munster, I guess.
That's right. You haven't earned it.
No.
You can't enter any spiel you like, buddy.
No, I guess not.
He curled enough that the triple's not there. I wouldn't want to have to try to wiggle through. I think he's got to play the draw.
Just a quick other question here before we watch Kirk's last shot at the end. I know I'm gonna answer this quick. Sonny's got a question about the Brier format. What do you guys think of adding teams to the field instead of cutting some, adding top 5 or none, or top 5 to 9 unqualified CTRS, which would leave us 20 to 24 teams in the event? And my opinion on that quickly here is the event, the Brier, the Scotties, as they stand right now, they're already close to 2 weeks in length, 10 days. So just adding teams, I think, makes it very difficult to just add those extra few days to an already long event, which would just be I do think it's a really good idea if there was a way to pull it off. I just think when it gets to the point where we're competing for 14-ish days, I think that makes it very difficult on the athletes and the event organizers, the ice makers, everybody involved. I just think it makes it very difficult once we start playing around with that 2-week time period.
Look. You good?
His line's very close if he gets by that red one.
Big shot in this game here, Kirky. There's a steal to be able to crawl away with a point here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the boys did a good job working that to the spot too. I think, again, a lot of average fans and those sort of things maybe don't realize how important that's. It is a whole new ball game for those kind of those kind of sweeps to be perfect. They couldn't be 2 inches light or 2 inches heavy there, and they had to wait for the right moment to sweep because I had to make sure we curled enough. They just did a fantastic job, and sweepers need to get that credit, especially now, Maddie, that I'm sweeping your stones. There has to be lots of credit for those sweepers.
There you go. That's there's a little shot like that. There's a 6-inch by 6-inch area you could put that, and unfortunately for us, you found it. And game on, going into 7.
Yeah, hang in there. That was the goal there.
So David here, he's kind of touched upon. I don't support more teams should be added to the Scotties and Brier format. I don't think there should be a Team Canada. All teams should have to work to get to represent their province. And I certainly don't disagree with that. All teams should have to work to get to represent their province. Kind of based on the conversations we've had. The issue is because there's certain difficulties in specific provinces. There's no lie that some provinces are more difficult than the others. It's detrimental to development of the sport as a whole when we're not getting some of these teams exposure. And I agree that the amount of teams in the event should stay the same. As I touched on earlier with Sonny's comment, just the events are 10 days as it is, and I think that's kind of max what we want to have for an event.
Well, and according to what Matt told us during the 5th inning break, he's ready to go for this 7th as well. He wanted the force, got it right away in the 6th.
Good line.
Best line of the day right here.
Line's good. You can really drag him out
Good
here.
line, guys. Trying to be tight here, but it might not be.
I think you can keep her going. You're doing the right thing.
Well, it took him 6 ends to get the hammer back after starting with
There's one from Julie for you, Maddie. Would you ever consider playing for Manitoba someday?
Oh yes. Yeah, you know what? It's definitely something that has crossed my mind, and one day eventually, I'm not sure. I can't look into the crystal ball to see how soon or in the future this might be, but I would definitely consider it. And I do think eventually at some point in my career, it's something I want to do. But like I said, I don't know. I don't know when that might be. I'm very happy here in Saskatchewan right now with the team we've got. We've built something pretty good, and my focus as of right now is building towards that and winning the Brier and for Saskatchewan and ultimately that Olympic trials in a short year from now. So, but yeah, I would definitely never say never.
Hey, great shot, too.
Got to talk sweet to those rocks.
Peek that one now?
So, yeah.
Same depth.
Got that yellow one to bite the 12-foot as well, so they could actually just make a play on it with the next one.
Nicely done.
If you open up one side, you'd be
Back into the 7th end here, 2-2. Boy, I sure would like to force you up here.
The 7th end, absolutely. Oh, David got a little scared with my answer there. Stay Team Green, and hey, I'm wearing this for a reason. It's we're definitely staying Team Green for now and for the foreseeable future. There's like I said, I can't look into a crystal ball and see what the future holds. But definitely all about Saskatchewan and being that Olympic team by all stretch of the matter, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I think it's, again, I can't put words in your mouth, but I think Ben Hebert always says it well, too. Ben Hebert's obviously a Regina boy, a Saskatchewan boy through and through, and he's represented Alberta for most of his career, and he loves Alberta. He loves being there in Calgary. You can tell that, but to this day, his heart still bleeds green, and he says, he still probably wants to play here to end his career. So it's kind of one of those things that he'd love to play in Saskatchewan someday too, even though he loves Alberta. And I kind of sense that with you too, Maddie. You love Saskatchewan, you love the people and the curling atmosphere, but maybe if the right opportunity came along one day, who knows when, that may be something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, it's I can't say enough about Saskatchewan. It's been the actual experience of getting to experience a different province and the curling culture. It's a very amazing thing, and I hope a lot of people get to experience that over the course of their curling careers, to experience different provinces, and because everyone's so different in their unique ways, and Saskatchewan's so passionate about their curling. It's probably the most popular curling province in our nation. And I love nothing more than to chat curling with the people of Saskatchewan, and the support we get for our team is unbelievable. So I feel very fortunate and blessed to have been able to play in such a great curling province for the last 3 years.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing place to play the game. I've always just pinch myself that I get to play in Saskatchewan and represent the province at 5 Briars now. People in Saskatchewan just love their curling, and it's so neat to be able to kind of be a part of that.
And I think everybody deserves to know that all the curlers around the world, when we're playing in Grand Slam events in Saskatchewan, every athlete in that event can't say enough about how great the fans are in Saskatchewan. It's the talk of the entire week from an athlete standpoint, and people from all around the world, just regardless of the -40 weather, they can't wait to compete in Saskatchewan every time that opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, you're right. When there's slams here in Saskatchewan, the teams that come from all around the world just love the atmosphere here.
Run back.
Yeah.
Dead straight, because then they would be buried.
What do you want, Hack?
Yeah, this definitely was a game, a little more patient game on both of our fronts. There wasn't a lot of muck it up kind of situations. It was more kind of how I always kind of thought Jeff Stoughton played the game, a little bit cleaner, kind of growing up, and it kind of seemed both of our teams had a plan going in, and both teams kind of stuck to that.
Yeah, like I would have said a year ago, our team would play nothing like this, and that's kind of in the off season when we looked at the numbers and what makes our team good and successful was situations like this where we're tied up and have the hammer late in the games. We were finding when we had the hammer in important situations, that's when we were pulling out wins. So I think I think that makes a lot of sense as to why we were kind of in with this game and didn't try to force the issue by any stretch of the matter like we did the provincial final before.
Yeah, I must say we played you. I think I don't know if it was the first or second spiel of the year in Oakville. There, we played you in the quarterfinals of this season, so the 2019-2020 season, and we got off the ice that game. And to be honest, and we're like, what? Who did we just play? So like that is not the team we knew from the year prior. And we were like, they made some conscious decisions on how they were going to go about the game, whether that was just against us or what that was. But I'm like, they totally changed what their plan was from a year ago, and we noticed that from the beginning of the year. So it's kind of interesting that cat and mouse and that back and forth thing.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the off ice work that people don't know about that goes into it. Every team does it. It's a big boardroom meeting with your team on how the heck do we get better, regardless of kind of how your season went. And a lot of the time you're comparing yourself to the team that had the best season. Like what did they do different than everybody else? And that's kind of where your starting point is. And there's so much that goes into it in the off season on trying to work out some of those kinks and figuring out what made your team successful the season before and what maybe hindered your chances to win the game. And that's just one of the things we had looked into.
Yeah, totally. And I think one of the things what a coach told us, I forget who exactly, when we were kind of getting going with Laycock back in the kind of 2012-13, he said, well, first thing we sat down and said, well, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We need to maybe play more aggressive, less aggressive. You know, you have to have this smoothie in the morning, whatever it may be. And he said, well, actually, you just need to make more shots. And what you need to do is learn how to make more shots. And so basically that was kind of an eye opener for me too. And it was like, you can try to do a million things and you can try to be better at this and better at that. But the game really comes down to making shots in a lot of cases and finding ways to be better at curling and finding ways to be better at the mechanics and better at weight control. And so don't try to reinvent the wheel in a lot of cases, especially for a lot of the younger teams coming up, is just become the best shot makers and the rest will kind of take care of itself.
And I think don't be afraid to be unique. If you're looking at a team that's that you got to battle against that's substantially stronger in certain areas. If you try to beat them at their own game, that's something that isn't going to happen very often. So I would always recommend like not being afraid to be unique with your strategy of the game, especially. It's all about making people feel uncomfortable out on the ice, and a lot of the time you do that by calling a certain type of way that is just not your conventional way.
Well, they
Yep, very good point.
they talked about whether they should roll.
Easy.
It's good.
Clean. Clean. Clean.
Little bit.
Yep.
Yep.
Right to it. Heavy dust right to it.
So we got a blank end brewing here. It's looking like it.
We got a snoozer, yeah.
Yeah.
To change the shot.
Yeah, that's another good one, Matty. What do you think? People talk about eliminating the blank end to kind of create a little more excitement for the fans watching at home. What do you think of that?
Yeah, and you know what? I don't like it at all. A lot of blank ends nowadays, they don't come from ends like this. I would say it's pretty rare to see a blank end like this. A lot of them just come from clearing a lot of granite, and I think blanking an end is a huge part of strategy and your tactical gameplay on the ice. In a scenario like this, where if we're forced to score in this situation, our win percentage is a lot different than it would be if we score in the eighth end. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into blanking ends and when to score and when not to score. And I think it's kind of one of these unknown parts of our game. Yes, it can get boring at times, but it's amazing how important and key in some scenarios a blank end can actually be.
High score 2-2.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a huge strategy thing. They usually don't come out of a product of being a boring end. All those things, totally agree. But at the same time, like I'm kind of on the fence of maybe if it, in my opinion, like if it was removed from the game, you would find different ways to have strategy. Like it would become more of a strategy situation some other part of the game. So I don't know if it would be missed that much is my argument on that side. There would be different ways and reasons you'd go about strategy, and curlers would figure it out, just like when we went from no free guard zone to 3 rock free guard zone, and then you learned how to play with 5 rock free guard zone, et cetera, et cetera. I think teams would learn how to play with it, and I'm not sure if it's good or bad, or if it's a good thing to entice people to watch the game more. But tough to say.
Producer question for you guys on the blank end. Thoughts on if you didn't have hammer, could you run the other team into being forced? Matt, you might have.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of why I have kind of a scenario which might be a solution for that. But yeah, on the flip side, if teams are being forced to score, then the ends might get even more boring, because the team without hammer is just going to try and run out the end and hit everything in sight, and that's how they get their force on you. So my solution to that would be as if the hammer is going to be forced to flip any which way or the other, then I think if the team covers the button, the team with hammer covers the button, then it should be worth 2 points. I think if we're going to force teams to give up hammer regardless, then I think there's got to be that opportunity there. If they cover the button, then they do get their 2 points. But I do think there's got to be some sort of alternative solution for the team with hammer if we are going to force them to lose the hammer in a certain scenario. To score, we got to try and generate offense any which way possible. And I think simply put, just having the hammer flipped, and if you blank the end, isn't a great solution, just because the team without hammer can just run the end. And it might become even more boring.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I think just kind of as a whole, like I always try to think about, like, does the casual fan care about a blanked end? Like, I always want to know what, like, the casual fan loves about curling. So why do 500, 600,000 people come and watch the Brier on any given day when there's, I don't know what the number is, maybe 1,000 that enter play downs? Mm-hmm. And so, like, I think as a curling community and the powers to be and the teams and everyone involved in this game, we have to figure out and focus more on those fans. Because one, those are the fans that are driving the dollars into the game, but those are the fans you can kind of get them excited about the game to go to the local curling club, get them to go to the Cali club here in Regina, get them to go to the Highland club and play and enjoy the game and learn the game. By focusing smallly on the people that already do it is, I think, is a missed opportunity, because there's so many people that watch curling that obviously don't play. How do we get them more excited about the game? How do we get them to bring their friends to the stadium? How do we get them to talk about it, get excited about it, and then go to the curling rinks? And I think there has to be more of those conversations happening in our game.
Has to be more of a clear path, I would say, too, for people who aren't familiar with the game but have maybe seen it, to get familiar with curling clubs and who to go to be taught. Like, there's not, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a curling club in the world that kind of has a club pro, right? Like they do at the golf course, where there's a person you could ask, like, if I go to the Highland Curling Club in Regina, who's like, wouldn't it be great if I could look, ask the club manager, hey, is there anybody that could show me how to curl? Like, I don't know. And then suddenly, oh yeah, I got Kirk Muyres is our club pro here. He's 19 times Saskatchewan champion, it feels like, and like knows the game, Grand Slam, et cetera, et cetera. The accolades go down the list, and someone like that, to connect you with them, it's suddenly, if they're being taught the correct way, to so to say, I think that's something that keeps them in the sport for longer as well too.
Yep, totally agree.
I see on YouTube here there's a little Team Canada debate going on whether or not Team Canada should be in the Brier or the Scotties. What do you think, Kirky?
Yeah, again, I'm a huge supporter of it, and again, because I want to frame my thoughts around the game in terms of marketing the game, in terms of excitement around the game, and again, in terms of a brand perspective and the casual fan, they're going to have a better opportunity to know who Team Canada is, because maybe they saw them at the Brier or Scotties last year. The branding marketing department at Curling Canada can pump them up for a year so people can be excited about going to watch them. They know they're there. I think it's absolutely a good thing for growing the event and growing the brand of the game.
I think you're bang on with that, and I totally agree. I think Team Canada needs to be in there, and on top of that, I think it's great in a scenario where a Brad Gushu wins the Brier, right? That suddenly opens up a lot of spots in a province like Newfoundland, where Gushu has dominated that for over 2 decades now. Suddenly that creates an opportunity for a new face in there to get to the big level. In the 2 years Brad was Team Canada, you had Greg Smith and Andrew Simmons in there. So it's just another great way to get new faces on the big stage, which is just so key in our development.
Yeah, I would agree. And now you look at, I think that I'm not even sure the names of the young Newfoundland team that had a good run at the juniors last year. As they're kind of that up and coming team that hopefully they can get some of those opportunities in the next few years to be at the Brier and be at some of those big events.
Totally. The more exposure we get for our young people is definitely the route to grow the game, and the game is, in my opinion, lacking a lot of that right now. Julie just commented, I used to teach Matt junior high school. I remember Matt missing basketball practice for curling. I think he was in grade 8. Very cool to see Matt now at the level he is, and all the work is paying off. Hard work is paying off. And yes, Julie, I do remember that. And I think I made the right choice to put the basketball away and bring the curling rocks out and the brooms out. I was not a great basketball player by any stretch of the matter, and my 5'6" self wouldn't have gotten very far at a collegiate level of basketball.
You didn't quite have the height to go to the show in basketball, eh?
No, or the shot. It's not a very smooth shot. A lot of bricks being tossed up. I'd be lucky to hit the rim more or less than actually sink the shot itself. So not much of a basketball player.
Here's a question for you, Maddie. On this shot here, you go and peel the corner guard. You have a hammer in the 8th end, a lot of end left to go, and you decided to peel the corner guard there. What was kind of going through your head at the time?
Yeah, interesting actually. It's a lot of the times I think people would have been 8th end tied up with the hammer. Great chance to maybe put a bit of pressure on and try and get a deuce. Obviously a deuce in the 8th end. Great scenario. How we kind of looked at that was, again, we take control into the 9th end. And in the 9th, we kind of control our own destiny of what we kind of want to do. We could go very hard, and if we crack a 3, then the game's pretty much over. And we figure we might get a little bit better opportunity to do so in the 9th end, knowing how we were going to play that. Whereas it could have been a scenario here where we force the issue a bit, and then we get forced to 1, which I mean is a great option as well. But it just there wasn't. Just felt like it was forcing the issue a little bit, and we could have created a little bit better opportunity in the 9th end was kind of our outlook on it. And just with kind of game we were playing, we were willing to put that little bit extra pressure on ourselves and in the end itself, and put a lot of rocks in play in 9 to try and break the game open.
Yeah, and you guys certainly did. You that was really how you drew it up, and 9th did present some opportunity for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a few snoozers of ends here for the people watching tonight, but next end's a doozy for everyone.
Yeah, there's it's boring, but there's a rhyme or reason to all of this on both sides. There's a reason why both teams are playing this way, and we're just the game's so tight and this late in the game, everyone's just kind of looking for their one opportunity, that one little crack in the door to break it through and be the difference in the game. David's asking, do you think Canada has fallen behind in the world competitively wise, and world teams have gotten stronger with better teams?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I mean, the world has certainly gotten stronger. They've continued to get stronger and stronger and stronger over the last, for 25 years. I don't know if Canada's fallen behind, but I can see us falling behind. I think we're right there yet. We still have, of the top 10 or 15 teams in the world, we're still way, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them will be Canadian. But again, we keep on this kind of trend that we're on, where the world teams are, again, getting better and better. They're going to start filling that top 15 in the world, and Canada needs to do their part to stay up with that. What do you think?
Yeah, Canada still remains supreme from a depth standpoint. Absolutely. That's there in our country on the men's and ladies side. There's 15 teams on both sides. That would be the best team in the country and in a lot of other countries. So from a depth standpoint, Canada is still far and away above. But at the end of the day, if you look at the world rankings, there's Sweden, Switzerland, Scotland, and Japan, Korea, even everybody's got a team or two. They don't have close to the depth that Canada has, but they've got a team or two in their country that could arguably be the best team in the world. So from at the very top standpoint, the world is very darn close, but from a depth standpoint, Canada's still far and away better than everybody else.
Here's one from Dwight Pomedley. Who do you think Saskatchewan should send to the Briar Bubble if we can't have games to figure it out?
Oh, that's an easy one. That's an easy one, Dwight. That's you're looking at him, but no, it's you hope it doesn't get to that point. In a perfect world, we get back to playing and competing, which is everybody that's involved in any sort of sport wants right now. If Curlsask does have to make a tough decision, which hopefully they don't, I think everybody's got to respect that decision, whatever it might be, and these are unforeseen circumstances on so many levels. So no matter any which way you slice it, if a team's got to get chosen, some people are going to be unhappy about it, but I think that decision has to be respected. for what it is, and obviously there's a rhyme or reason as to why Saskatchewan is making that decision. So I guess we'll stay tuned.
Here's a good one from Julie Evans again. How do you both keep calm in such tight games?
Well, I don't. I might show it, but I don't. How about you, Craig?
I'm the same. I always say I remember my grandparents had a coffee cup, and in a curling game I'm a lot like a duck. I look smooth on the surface, but I'm paddling like hell underneath. And so I'm not calm at all. But you try to do a lot of breathing. You try to enjoy the nerves. But yeah, there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah, and I find it's actually easier in an arena setting to stay calm. And the reason I say this, for me, my kind of go-to is just to completely disconnect from the curling game itself. I'll always try and look in the stands somewhere, whether it be find a family member or just try and look for something that'll make me laugh, take my mind off it. It's kind of my go-to to kind of just disconnect for a moment when I'm feeling a certain way, and then bringing myself back into the game. And obviously there's a lot of breathing exercises that I've been doing that we've been doing, I should say, with our coach Adam, that we've brought into the game. So yeah, I would say that's kind of try and disconnect from the ice. Got another burner here, Kirky. We like bringing these Sask finals to the bitter end.
Yeah, we do. Again, there's nothing better than there's not much better than a Tankard final. It's all or nothing, you know. Winner goes to the show, loser gets absolutely nothing. Again, those big moments, man, that is fun. I've been lucky enough to play in a few of them now, but that is losing sucks, but man, those provincial finals are fun.
Yes. There's nothing quite like it, that is for sure. All or nothing. And the difference in there is just your regular tour event, right? It's not quite all or nothing in the sense that everybody's going home with a cash prize after. All 8 guys on the sheet are going home with a cash prize. One a little bit less than the other, but I mean, after a provincial final, when you don't come quite out, or when you don't come out on top, you go home with absolutely nothing. So those would be the difference in these kind of games compared to your tour event.
For the long center guard here.
Yeah, and even you think about other sports too, and you look, how awful it would be to lose, say, a World Series final or whatever that may be, or a Grey Cup. At the end of the day, those guys are going home with a paycheck, and so that kind of eases the burden a little bit. Whereas the beauty of curling and the beauty of a provincial final is it's literally all or nothing. You get all the glory, or you get absolutely nothing, and then your season's kind of over, and it's the dead of the winter, and when you lose it, you go home, and it's just it's such a sad time for a few weeks while you kind of lick your wounds and get over the loss.
Yeah, every single curler in our game is going to tell you a provincial final loss always hits a bit. I shouldn't say a bit more, a lot more.
As you predicted, Sue. This end is going to get interesting.
Well, this is a fun end. This is when things get pretty serious, and I think everything fills in.
Line's good. Line's good.
Yeah, I think this is an exciting end here. Both teams kind of pushing the envelope. We're obviously looking for a big end of some sort, and you're obviously trying to force us to our one. Like, what's your opinion, Kirky? Do you like being one up with, or one up without, or one down with coming home? What's your opinion on that?
I actually don't mind being one up without. I've always liked winning, and you usually win a game by a point, and having that point, there's something about the other team having to really do something, and I think everyone, the stats are even on the 5-rock rule. I think the stats are still showing that more games are won when you're one up without than one down.
It's close to 70% win percentage when up one.
That's not that high now, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I didn't think it was even that high. So for me, it's always one of those things that I'd rather be one up. Again, in this scenario, we likely weren't going to be in that situation, so we were working hard to force you.
Absolutely. That's I do think the one up without is a better scenario to be in. The selfish part of me, though, likes being one down with coming home because more times than not, you're going to have a shot to win the game, and that's my favorite part about the game of curling. So the selfish side of me likes being one down with.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Hard line.
Top 12, maybe.
Gotta go. Go, boys. Don't stop. Head
Just
down.
tight.
Head down and go.
We're just tight.
So would you guys make sure, like, the same thing here, that was your theory? Were you making sure you scored here, or were you going for a deuce pretty hard?
No, I think in this scenario, we've been pretty indifferent in this scenario. Like the one down with or the one up without, we haven't had a whole lot of success in this particular year in this scenario. So we were pretty indifferent. So I would venture to say we were actually looking to try put up a deuce or a 3 here, trying to create some heavy offense and knowing with the risk that we could give up a steal, but being okay with that is what we are looking at this end. Trying to go uber hard and being content with a steal or with a point or multiple, with the upside of making multiple points.
Gotcha.
You're going to over curl a bit here, but line will be fine. Just put her on the spot. Put her top button. Yep. Straight. Gotta go. Get her there. Good shot. Shot down. Shot.
Yeah, that ice was still moving, wasn't it? Holy smokes, it was curling yet late in that game.
She is falling off the sheet. It makes for fun curling, and obviously when there's that much curl in the ice, that's when you see. This game's a bit of an outlier, but this when you see a bunch of offense, right? When there's some big curl, that's how you can generate the big offense.
Yeah, you're right.
The other thing is the yellow, red onto the yellow.
There's another question here, a really good question. As the skip throwing third, I wonder how to talk to my fourth when he's struggling. Do you have any tips for things you can do to help them reset?
I need more, Maddie.
I think this is a very person-specific question. So I think this is a question you actually take to your fourth rock thrower himself, and you ask him kind of what they need. And I think that's different. Like what Kirk might need on the curling ices could be a lot different than what I need.
They're hoping that red one spins
something to talk about each.
I've already got to go to plan B as he's well inside that.
You need and what might work for Kirk could potentially not work for me, might hinder me. So I think it's a very important conversation to have with your teammates and for everybody involved, and to know what a person specifically needs. What do you think, Kirky?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think that's 100%. Those conversations need to be had with teams, and those are tough conversations to start having too. Everyone's a little bit tentative. It's tough to talk about your feelings and those sort of things, but those conversations need to be had with the team and the teammates you were wondering about. And I think sometimes too is the teammate that you're wondering about may not even know the answer to that. But I think asking that question will help them kind of come out of their own head in those moments to learn about themselves, and then hopefully be able to help them kind of down the road. So I think asking those questions may not even get you an answer right away, but I think it kind of opens everyone's minds up to learning about themselves so they can hopefully become better at it down the road. But I 100% agree, Maddie. It's a question that needs to be had with the person that is needing help.
Yeah, it's very person specific. There's no general answer that works for every curler universally. That's for sure. Big decision time here for you, Kirky.
Yeah, you got the old cat had one get away on there, and it worked out just wonderful for you guys. But
sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, that is a fact. It's the first break you guys got in 2 years playing us. So that's
it's
not
nice
too bad.
To see. Finally,
you deserve one there. But I'm just thinking, I don't remember exactly how it's set up here. I wish we could get a pan back to it, but
there's I think you got one top of the 4-foot. We're on the button there, and then a whole lot of shrapnel up front. So
yeah,
I think
thanks, Dad.
I definitely like your position in this a lot better than ours right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're sitting great. I guess that we're a little bit hooked because we don't have the right angle on your red one right now. But I mean, I'm pretty happy that I have that yellow one. I can run in on the corner there. But I think we have to kind of play a draw in here, but I think it's a pretty precise draw because you don't want
absolutely
yellows, right?
Yep. I do think the one big advantage you have already here, regardless of what your shot call is, the scoring area is already so small.
Yep, totally good point.
Is you've already got the whole sheet condensed to right around the button, so I think that's the biggest advantage for the Yellowstones here.
Do you want to throw it a little different?
You're probably going to see something a little different.
Yeah, a little slower slide, a little more release.
Yeah, so I'm going to try it.
Yep.
Freeze it.
Yep. Top button.
Little less chippiness in this game amongst the teams, though. There wasn't as much barking back and forth. I don't even think I can remember any at all, actually.
Yeah, I don't think there was, Maddie. And like I said, we noticed that in Oakville too. I must say we said that. We said, "What's going on?" I said, "I felt like you guys weren't playing that game with us anymore either."
Yeah,
and then we didn't have no chipping at all. I don't think we had any chipping we played in the A final here at the 2020 Tankard, and there was none in that game either. So it's interesting how that works out sometimes.
Yeah, I think we learned our lesson the hard way the year before that maybe the little bit of chirpiness that goes on isn't to our advantage.
Yeah, and I think you could be right. It's one of the things that definitely does. It seems to wake us up. The Muyres boys, anyways.
Like you said, it lights a fire under yours and Dallin's belt. So we learned that the hard way, unfortunately.
I wish you didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like they got one rocked at
They always say you learn from your losses, and maybe that was the one thing we learned.
This in, so they've been saving it.
You got to move it around.
Clean. Clean. Very good.
The old when in doubt, peel it out.
Yeah.
People were with us
This is
earlier in the week and heard some of the teams.
I mean, again, you still don't have a great angle onto that red there, but boy, oh boy, it's not a whole lot of room to score a second point.
No, that's very true. There's not a lot of room, but if we could have ever came in there and on looks like Dan's second one there, a draw top four. If we ever come in there and just play a little tap and just unhook those, and then we have you on both sides, oh boy,
yeah,
that'd have been a real trouble for you guys.
That is the key there. You got us on the one side there, but that side's closed off, luckily for us. So that's the fact that yellow's welded up top is our saving grace at this moment.
They just laughed. They said that rock's almost like cheating.
Yeah, never to be seen again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Curl. Curl. Hard.
So that's the issue with stones that don't match. If you know what they're doing.
Give you a little bit of an out there, got a little tight. Again, that's something we've been talking about this year is those long guards. You think they're easy, but they're not. They're a tough shot. You don't play it much. You don't practice that much. The curl might be different. The finish might be different. The speed's so much different. You get into different paths than you do on the draw to the house as well because it starts curling earlier. It's a totally different shot.
Especially with how good everybody is at those runbacks nowadays, right? It's one of the, if not, like I would argue, it's almost the most important shot in the game. To put the most pressure on your opponent, I think it's very important. And it's a shot that's very underrated when it's made good. I don't think it gets enough credit for how hard it actually is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think you're getting that and off.
Yeah. If we can get rid of two centers, it's really.
I think it's probably worth a go. Okay.
Another decision time here. It's those guards. They're a blessing and a curse. They're the only reason why we might score right now, but they're also the only reason why we might not score two or give up a steal.
Yep. Hard. Whoa. Hard. Whoa.
Touch it. Really good. Good shot.
Good.
Gets the guards, but leaves the Yellowstones at the top of the 4 foot.
I guess after that, this is kind of your opportunity to go for the force. I'm guessing is I guess here the key for your shot is your guard here is to leave that one on the left side as we're looking at it open, right?
Yep, exactly right. That's my only chance out of this yet, and the problem is you go and move anything on the top there, and because you'd be fine with a blank yet here too, so we can't even go move anything yet at this point. Because if you could ever get a blank out of here, you're winning, I don't know, at least 85% of the time.
Yeah, it's almost a scenario here where both teams are kind of not sure what to do, and you're kind of waiting for us to make the move into the house, and that's where you can kind of attack. I think is just who's going to be the first one to make the move in the house, and I think I think the guard's a really good call, because if you were to make a move on the house here, I think that's advantage us. You give us that many more opportunities to blast away and try to get away with a blank.
Yep, totally.
Do I try and get to... I think we're trying to play for 2 at this point.
Get to nose with this.
Okay. I like it.
Just through.
Okay.
So what are you guys just going to hit? Are you hitting the top one there, Maddie? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, I think kind of playing a back line hack weight. Saw this as our opportunity here. You guard over curled and covered the one that you were hoping to leave open. So I think this was our opportunity. We saw to maybe start creating a 2 or a 3. Getting a little late in the end for a blank. So I think this was our chance here.
Gotta go real hard.
Good shot.
Yeah, that's a nice shot.
Pretty darn good shot. It was kind of nice leaving that left yellow in there for. You do have a double on those reds, but the odds of it jamming on that side yellow are pretty high. So it was actually nice that it played the appropriate weight to keep it in there.
Yeah, I don't even know. Would that double be there now for us? I guess.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're right. That was a beauty.
Yeah.
Take off the action on the top of yours too.
Who's third? Kevin took a look.
That's a shot, Braden, man alive. He's good at that soft weight taps.
That's the old bread. That's the old bread and butter. When you're calling hack weight for Mr. Muscowie, that's a shot that's made more than anybody else in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I've always seen that out of him, and he just has a way about it. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. Now, what do we do in this? I don't even necessarily remember what we play, but I think
that shot couldn't have worked out much better for us in the sense that both yellows went to a great spot. Like that yellow in the forefoot there is deep enough where you don't really have any angle you can use it at for anything good for you to happen. Where both yellows spilled to, really couldn't have worked out much better.
Yeah, I think we got to go hit this on the nose and just try to get rid of that one red and sit in front of it. I think that's what we're gonna end. I don't remember exactly how I made it or what, but I think again, if I make this pretty good, let's say I make this basically just a hair high of the nose. We're sitting pretty good again to force you or maybe put some pressure on you on the next one.
Yeah, that's the shot. That red top 8 is kind of the danger stone. That's our second point right there, and just got to regain control of the top of the house again, because that's the shot. That's the rock we were going to promote to try and score the second point. So I think this call's bang on, and obviously try and spray out that one on the button.
Speed's good.
Close. Clean.
Forward.
Please. Yep. Whoa.
Good.
Whoa. Whoa, Dallin. Hard, Dallin. Hard.
Not curl a bit yet. It's getting close.
Puts red onto
Not
red.
bad.
Shooter.
Would have been nice to curl that up a little bit.
I think it's
Yeah,
Muyres sitting
overall,
right
like
now.
pretty darn good. Like there's not a whole lot of good we can do. Like we can make the double, but then again we're only sitting one, right? And if we make the hit and roll in, then your shot on the button there, or second shot at least, anyways. So I think you're pretty happy with this scenario. I would argue both teams are pretty happy. Actually, it's kind of that.
Yeah, we're definitely happy. I mean, I think you have to try to make this double again. If you're, like you said, if you don't make it and you roll in, I freeze that pocket, and now we're out of the end, and we are just loving it. You make that double, there's a little more heat on us.
Pretty much what you've been seeing all game here.
It'll be interesting what you end up playing here, because I thought I threw I won't ruin it for everyone at home. This will be an interesting finish here.
I do think I'm playing the nose double here, and the good thing about the nose double on our end is the angle on those two reds is that it's going to jam on the catcher on the side there.
Yep.
Needs to make the double here.
Not wide.
Muyres throw the guard.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh,
I actually
what a
didn't
shot.
think they could make that double and get that roll.
Happy with that one.
Yeah, that was the nail in the coffin there. Oh boy, you know, you even don't curl that. You don't roll quite as much. You roll a little more either way. Now there's not much left.
Yeah, I mean, that curls up an inch more, and we roll that full rock and miss your one on the button there. You're lobbing one into the pocket, and I don't know how the heck we score or force you to only score one.
And even if you don't roll, and I can freeze this top button one at least too. But now we're drawn to just spots on the ice.
Well, do you think you can make that draw easier than you can make it?
Well, you've been doing it all game up to this point.
You make a call. Let's play for here.
I'm afraid it isn't going to happen again, Matty. I hate to say it.
I like going here. It's probably a harder tap for him to stick that than a draw to here, right? Because if we're here, that's my take.
The other option is this one, but not great.
I'm a pretty big fan of this.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think that's the shot. I have to draw the button and hope you kind of have a miss.
I think so.
Do you think there was ever a red double there
And he's pretty
on your end?
I don't.
Say,
Yeah.
play it, make it.
I don't know.
Right.
It's a good question. I don't feel like we had enough of that top one, but
I agree with you too. I do think this is the right call, especially being second shot, right? You make any sort of run at that double, and at this angle, you can't see that you could possibly jam that double too, which is game over basically, right? So I do think this is the right call.
yeah, and I think maybe even let's say I do make that double. I think you could probably go and hit that open one. Probably
And get the blank too. Yeah.
I don't know for sure if it was open enough, that yellow, but you likely can get a blank out of that anyways, and then we're still hoops. So
Yeah.
maybe there's 10% chance I make this shot, and if I make this, then we have a chance to win. So it's probably odds wise not a bad choice to give this a whirl.
Yeah, amazingly enough, with the 5 rock rule, a lot of teams nowadays would sooner be that 2 down with the hammer than tied up with the hammer. It's just another part of our game that's grown.
Continuing to sit shot rock and a chance now to just
No longer than 10 years ago, I would have said a lot of teams are a lot happier being tied up without the hammer as opposed to 2 down with. And in today's game, I would say more teams are more content with being 2 down with.
Yep, totally. Yeah, that one didn't curl enough on me there. I had decent weight. The boys swept it good, but it was not meant to be on that one. So give you a little tap for 2, and we'll see if see how you do.
Mm-hmm.
I like your odds there, Matthew.
Hey, what's this look like? That's 2 brooms more. That's good. Yeah.
And biggest part of this shot is just total weight control, and even in this moment, it's the 9th end. It's not the last shot, but just obviously with the adrenaline, that's kind of the one opportunity to break the game open, get that deuce to take more control than any team had. So pretty important in this moment to buckle down and kind of treat it as if it were the last shot of the game. Big turning point, and the weight control on this shot is very key. And in tough moments, tricky moments, is usually when the part of the shot that goes out the window at times you see your misses is on the weight control.
Yeah, it's another thing you guys like you said, you had a plan coming into this game and you stuck to it, and it worked out for you, right? I mean, this is what you needed, that opportunity for a deuce, and it didn't matter when it came.
Yeah, it's sometimes patience is a virtue. It's pretty easy to get kind of panicky in a tight game like this, but kind of played 9 ends just for the moment, right? So and take control going into 10.
Will take a 4-2 lead over Kirk Muyres coming home.
Yeah, one more end, and now in 5 rock rule, down 2. There's still an opportunity for us to have a chance.
It's a beautiful thing.
Not the easiest opportunity, but yeah, again, I think what you said there, Matty, about drawing the button for 2 points is a rule they can maybe implement going forward. I think that would, again, you talk about creating excitement and creating shifts, and you look at football, and some like basketball is a great example too of the the things that can happen late in the game, and that's what makes it so exciting for sports fans. And I think you want to attract the masses. You as much as curlers, we may or may not like it. You need to have those huge swings and those huge upsets and those huge things surprises that you never seen coming. I think is just so important for the game. So I think that drawing the button for 2 points could be a good one for the sport.
Everest at Bonspiel a couple of years, 5 years ago-ish now, they had that, right? The Everest Curling Challenge. We just got reminded of that actually by producer Jerry. So he's on it. Randy Furby ran the Everest Curling Challenge. That's a rule they had. Something different for the game. And like you said, Kirky, like sports is all about big moments and stuff you don't see every day. And I think about our Briar experience when we played BC at the Briar. It's we had a shot we were down 3 and we scored 4 and in the 10th end to win the game. And that's just something at a top level it never really happens. And the shot we had to win was actually fairly easy. But the fact that it was 4 and at the Briar and the moment, and to win the game too, that's kind of what made that a very memorable shot for that Briar, for everybody involved in it. So like you said, it's those moments in sport that you don't see too often is what sucks the fan in, sucks everybody involved in, and huge for sports.
Quick question from Marilyn here on the Facebook page. Just trying to pull it up here. Bear with me. Well, I can't seem to get it.
Marilyn on Facebook. I'm gonna guess that's Marilyn Capitani.
It is.
A family member of mine. Hi,
there you
Marilyn and Gary. If you guys are watching out in Winnipeg, missing the whole family. That's I was hoping to get over there this Christmas to see everybody, but obviously these times are difficult for travel, so trying to do the right thing and stay in BC for the time being. But miss you guys. Hope you guys have a great Christmas.
Staying safe. She asked, some of the other big teams had more chances to play competitively this year. How are you compensating? That's a good question. I mean, we've been practicing lots. We've been lucky enough to get a couple events in. Just doing a lot of team dynamic work and just kind of take it all for what it is and realize that it's not the end of the world for us right now, and we're just doing the best we can with it and kind of looking forward and being excited about maybe the bubble that's to come. That kind of seems to keep me kind of mentally right, being able to work and have a goal to work towards.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing right now is the game itself is going to come to the player regardless of kind of how long of a break or how long you've been going. And I mean, at our level, it hits you eventually. At some, it doesn't take too long to get back into the swing of things, but I would say it's more difficult in between the years, and just staying in that positive mindset. Luckily enough for me, I know you guys are at a standstill in Saskatchewan there, but I still have a bit of access to curling here, so I've been able to practice several times a week. Still been feeling pretty fortunate, and it's an amazing thing. You take for granted the amount of times you get to be out on the ice, and you don't do it anymore. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, that's the one thing throughout all this. I'll tell you, the things you took for granted before the pandemic, you start counting those things, and it's almost one of those things is you'll never take those things for granted again. I don't think. You start to appreciate every opportunity you get to go to curl or travel or see family or whatever that may be, and so it's kind of one of those things. You definitely learn as life progresses.
You get awfully appreciative of the experiences you've been able to have prior to this.
That is a fact. So we got Dallin made 2 beauties again. I said that last game. He was, in big moments, he was sure a special player. And there you go. It's would have been his 8th provincial final, I think. He's got 6 Purple Hearts under his belt, and he puts up 2 perfect corner guards to start us off in the 10th end here to give us a chance to try to get those couple points or 3 points to win this thing.
This is a great part about 5 rock rule too is we've got all 5 rocks in play and we've got a 2-point lead, so there's going to be chances for you, no doubt about it, to score 2 and maybe even 3 at some point.
Even look at this setup. We got 2 corner guards, and an absolute pocket there. If we put this one right in there, if we put this one right in that pocket, boy, that.
This is looking at it now. This is not a great scenario for the Red Rubies here.
No, it really isn't.
This is very scary looking at it now. Yeah, quite a big mistake there actually from Dan. The fact that he bounced, I don't think was a big deal, but the fact that he bounced on that side of the stone was the difference in that shot.
Normal. Okay, I'm gonna throw the straight.
Yeah, it kind of took that pocket off a little bit and changed that flow and
rolled away from the pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. You're right.
You expect then that Kirk Muyres will come down to that stone on the center line.
Yeah, it's all those little things you don't necessarily even see. It doesn't even. It's not an assuming thing, right? And it's just again thrown good. It just sometimes they just don't work out quite right.
Yeah.
Going to have to start moving some red rocks here.
A few inches away from being pretty darn good, and that's probably having to go up and peel a guard.
Little roll. Get it in there.
Great shot, Cat.
I guess I might still have a chance at a triple there, or double anyways.
Okay, back line.
I guess for you
so.
it's you don't want to get too cluttered, right? You want to still leave yourself some space to have some room to score 2. You're certainly not trying to work out 3 by any stretch of the matter, but just open up some space to find a 2 somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think here, just a little tap around, get them moved around a little bit. I think Braden and Matt Lang, I don't know if they got this from their dads, but they used to always say, we'll 4-foot affect them. And that always meant just fill up the 4-foot with your stones. And it's a good thing. And really, if that's what was happening there, I mean, it's always, we want rocks in play to score points. But if you get too many in there, there's just no chance for us. So, that was a nice shot by Dan.
Real nice shot. Pretty good scenario for you so far. Like those Reds are queued up to have them both fly. On top of us here, we're kind of in a tricky scenario here. For us, I guess if we're able to get rid of this corner guard underneath, with how much the ice was curling, that high guard, I guess doesn't really come to play. We should be able to dig out anything in behind that, but still got us coming and going a little bit here.
This is a big one by Braden here.
That's their clutch.
Yeah, that was a nice shot.
Hoping to get in off the back
Changes
end of
things
that second
a little
stone.
bit, but there's still opportunity.
Definitely.
Corner guard.
Right here, I think. Came up a hair. Top button.
Kirk Muyres.
And I think it's very important for some people watching, especially juniors, how you're showing some patience here, where how easy it would have been for you to go and make that double right away on those Reds and sit 2 right now. But all that does for us would give us an opportunity to make a double at some point to get away with it, where you're just trying to delay that shot. There's nothing really good that we can do with that situation. So we're trying to leave that alone for as long as possible too. We're hoping you make the move on that. So I think showing some good patience here and leaving that scenario alone.
Yeah, same thing. It's just a matter of we can make that whenever. Get a few rocks in the house, get them separated ideally, get them, you know what I mean, and go make that double on those top ones whenever. Could be my last even.
Even though we're sitting 2, it's more of a scary scenario for Red than for Yellow, because you can make those disappear in a hurry kind of whenever you feel.
Yeah, totally.
Might have left a double on the top 2, yeah.
How much separation?
Yeah, it'd have been nice to get that one a little deeper too, but as it crosses that center line late in the game, it gets a little slower and it's tough to get them back there.
Yeah, and
Got a broom head there. Look at it.
big shot here coming from Braden. This double it's thin enough where there's no real risk of us jamming on the Reds in the house here.
Yeah, this is the moment.
Hard cast. Whoa! Clean! Yeah!
See Braden on all fours there.
Was he?
Yeah.
And that'll do it. And rolled to a beauty spot too. I mean, he rolled to a spot we can't really freeze to. And
yeah, there's not a great spot for you to hide in there. What a just such a good shot and in a big moment too.
Yeah, that was a game changer. Yeah, you're right. Big moment, big shot. Changes everything. Again, kind of takes the wind out of our sails a little bit. That momentum and that energy and everything like that, right? Had a little bit of that going into it, and then that one kind of stifles you.
Yeah, you look into the corner and you see three stones, and you know you got to score 2 of them, right? It's back right up against the wall now.
Back 12. Yep. Chisel. Oh. Okay. Jamming it. Okay. Just rolling it into here, right?
Yeah, I think whatever the easiest to kill it is.
Easy?
I don't know. You end up nosing that, or do you roll it in a little bit, Matty? I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah, I think at this point, all I'm trying to do is not jam it on the back one there. That's kind of your saving grace because we're piled in there, so you might be able to make a double or a triple. So we definitely played a weight here where we're trying to get closer to nose than we are just humming it down there. Because we do want to avoid that jam at the back. So you can see we've taken a bit of ice here because in a perfect world we're trying to come up and hit 2/3, 3/4 of this rock. So obviously just trying to get rid of it, but there's still a level of precision to this shot.
Little big.
Weight's good.
Yep. Clean. Yep. Easy.
Yep.
Easy. Yep.
Whoa.
Little heavy. Yep. Whoa.
Off.
Off. Off. Clean.
Off, right off.
Clean. That boy.
Great shot.
And there it is.
With the hit, avoids the jam at the back.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess you play this double and roll, which I guess would be the only possible way at this point to generate the 2. Freezing much ain't gonna do you much good. There's too many reds in there at this point.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we play. We play that little hit and roll. You got to throw it pretty hard because you got to kind of get to the wrong side of it to make the double, and you have to make the double because, like you said, you jam it, and now you're kind of hooked yourself to make. You're never getting rid of the back one. And it's kind of the only thing left. So I think if I remember right, we throw this pretty firm and try to play the double and roll it behind that corner, and then we got a chance yet actually for the deuce.
Very, very difficult shot. There's definitely a chance. Difficult shot, but yeah, like you said, if you got to get rid of 2. If you don't get rid of 2 somewhere, then it's I can almost just throw anything in the rings here and out count wherever your yellow was and have a good chance to win.
Or likely, if I don't get rid of 2, you may not even have to throw.
That's true, yeah.
I agree. You don't have to get it out.
Which is a skip's dream in these moments. To not have to throw the last one. It's always fun when you can just shake
then he's got to make something with the double, right?
So,
Yep.
Thanks for coming, boys. We'll see you next year. Yeah, so I think we're just kind of discussing the weight here and just kind of, realizing we can't throw this with bumper, whatever that may be. I need to make sure I get that one out of the 8 foot because that's where my yellow is going to be.
He's got to hit this one fairly thick to get both the reds out. If he hits it thin, it's just going to jam.
Based on the ice, you're throwing a hummer.
At Dunstone just
Yeah, I think so.
Won't matter what you.
I'm getting the Darren Gress's beauty ice. As soon as you throw basically anything over like normal, she runs straight down the sheet. And then a little bit less, you get that nice finish.
It always makes the players look a lot better than they probably are the ice today. It's amazing to be able to play on such great surfaces.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So again, didn't quite curl enough as it's coming in here, and didn't quite make the roll, unfortunately. And then
makes the double, but his shooter stays
at this
right
point,
there.
she's all over but the crying almost.
Yeah, just make her fly.
Matt Dunstone,
And
timeout just for the clock manager.
it doesn't matter how many times you've won.
It's
a funny thing. You always remember the ones you lose more than you win, right? It doesn't matter how many you've won, just the loss. It never takes away the sting.
And representing Saskatchewan at the Kingston
Yeah,
Briar.
you're right.
Smooth firm, boys.
But yeah, it was a well fought game, and it was that cat and mouse thing. And like I said, you guys just had a little bit of that upper hand. You deserved to win. Just played a little bit better, a little bit more precise. And there's the result, right?
Yeah, the Sask rivalry was fun while it lasted. I'm glad we're on the same side of it now, and we can win one of these together again. But fun while it lasted, the 2 years, and glad we both got to win one of these.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. Like you said, glad it's over, and hopefully now we can win a few together. That'd be an all right ride.
Absolutely, it's always more fun winning with you than it is having to play against you, Kirky. That's for sure.
And there it comes. To go to the Briar.
Matt Dunstone.
And Kirk Speed cuts out.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan. They have won the 2020.
Yeah, well deserved. I'll tell you, you guys earned that one, and then obviously went on to have a great Briar, one of the better ones in recent memory.
Yeah, wild stretch. I mean, even in this event, we were in the C event playing for our lives, and then go to the Briar, and even our first couple of games at the Briar too, we were winning games by the skin of our teeth too. So it was a wild month, and it's funny game, this curling. All the teams are so good, so close with each other that sometimes you just have to be the team of destiny. And for a month stretch, we definitely were. Things went our way. So.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson too. You got to battle out the tough ones. And again, I've always said it, when you win championships, it's those ones that you can let go
after the semifinal.
Some moments say, you know what, I'm done, or you can battle through it. And when you battle through it, good things happen. And you guys showed that here at Provincials and at the Briar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And lo and behold, you get the bronze medal. So no, that's really cool. That was fun doing that, Matty.
Yeah, thanks. Good to catch up and watch these games again. And thanks everybody for coming out and joining us for this. Had a lot of fun doing this. Hope you guys had fun tuning in, and hope everybody's doing their best to take care of themselves during a very difficult time. I think self-care at this point is one of the most important things in the world. So I hope you guys are all able to do that and do your best to have a great holiday season.
Yeah, you betcha. Well said. Be safe, everybody, and take care of yourself.
Thanks, guys.
What a grind. My knees are shaking. It's been a lot of games. Holy smokes. Much needed break. This is awesome.
I have to admit, you guys lost a couple games in the middle of this, but you weren't playing badly, and since then it looks like you guys have been on a mission.
Yeah, we played well throughout the week. We just got beat by some pretty good skips, so we took that for what it was and stuck with our processes and what makes us good, and we really stuck with that. What a grind. I'm so proud of the guys.
Absolutely. And can I say congratulations, 2020 Saskatchewan champion, on your way to the Briar. You know you're going to have this entire crowd behind you. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good luck.
And with that, another exciting season of Saskatchewan Championship Curling on Curlsask.ca and SaskTel Max has come to a close. We watch now as the team sets up for the Champions Parade down the ice.
Yes, thank you everyone, curling fans everywhere, for tuning in and keeping track of all of our games. And as we've mentioned, every one of these players has been to a Tankard, but this is the first green jacket for Braden Miscowie.
Actually, I did get a text. I was corrected on that. Braden was playing with Brock Virtue.
Right.
I don't know how I managed to block that out mentally, but
welcome to the closing ceremonies for the 2020 Saskatchewan Tankard. For the past 5 days, we have witnessed some of the best curlers in Canada, and at the same time, we have had the opportunity here in Melville to renew old acquaintances and to make new friends. It is now time to recognize the achievements of the best men's curling team in Saskatchewan. Please rise and join me in presenting your 2020 Saskatchewan Tankard champions, Team Dunstone. This time, I would like to call on Curlsask president, and Leanne Woodhouse, Saskatchewan refugees, to present the championship trophy to Team Dunstone. This is Murray. Can you get the players to turn around to the camera?
And there you have it, the championship trophy presentation to Team Dunstone. They will represent Saskatchewan at the Brier. Good luck to both Team Silvernagle and Team Dunstone at their respective national championships. We want to thank you all for joining us for this season's championship curling, and we'll see you all from Estevan next January.
That's not. It's. I just caught the tail end of that, Craig. It's more, what are you trying to do, and what's the intent of the organization, right? Like if all that mattered was sending the best team of this season to the World Championships, they're accomplishing that already. There's no question about that, because everybody gets the chance to play, and if there's only one champion at the end of the day, that's all you need. Because there's only one champion coming out of Manitoba, that means that the one champion at the end of the day had everybody had the same sort of chance to win the thing. You had to win your way at some point. But no, that's not at all the issue. The problem is that the young players who could be good enough to win the Brier and the World Championships down the road may leave the game before they ever have a chance to realize it, because they're held back. Well, Braden Calvert is not. So James Grattan gets to go just about every year to the Brier. And all he has to do is put together a half-ass commitment in New Brunswick, and he's probably going to be able to beat the teams. Barely. And he's playing against... He has a provincial championship with 8 teams in it that nobody else... Well, they have no incentive to get better. So Brad Gushue has the talent to win. James Grattan would have had the talent to win back in the day, for sure. Yeah. Yep. So James Grattan goes to the Brier every year, or pretty regularly, without really having to put the same commitment in. I can hear you. I'm arguing with you. I don't agree with you. Like, James Grattan, when he was in his 20s, was a contender to win. Kevin. James Grattan the last 10 years... The James Grattan the last, say, maybe 10 years is not a competitive curler. Yeah, essentially, yeah. Because if you put Karsten Sturme and Braden Calvert on the ice against James Grattan is not going to win that much anymore. He's a special case, because James Grattan was supremely talented, and had he committed to the game like Brad Gushue did, we could be talking about James Grattan as Brad Gushue. But he didn't. He had a real job. He couldn't commit to the schedule that Gushue did. He had life. Plus, the other problem in New Brunswick is it's hard to find more good players, too. Like, I'm not sure James ever really had a great group around him either. Yeah. Yep. Yep. No, he's a generation younger. He's almost 50 now. So Gushue did juniors in 2001-ish. It's 10 years at least. At least 10 years. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to take That has nothing to do with it. No, if you run a Canada Cup format, yeah. Oh, for sure. No, but if you ran the Canada Cup format as the Brier Scotties, everybody still watches. You guys might not, but the average sports fan will, because they don't know the difference. They don't know the difference. Yes, you should. No, you shouldn't. You gotta appeal to the fans who actually don't watch the sport. That's great. Yep. Sure, but you can't argue that that's because of provinces. I can't argue 100% against it either, but it's right. People are starting to show up to the Grand Slams now, too. We've had sold-out crowds for many of our slams, too. November, December. It's part of it. Plus, Michael, you'll never call it the Canada Cup as the championship that goes to the Worlds. %? 7 million people. TSN says 7 million people tune in. 3. I wouldn't be shocked